Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another edition of the OSC Season 12 Championship Low Bracket Round number 2. I'm, of course, Live VIP with you. I'm joined by the amazing player, by the people in the chat, by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to our first broadcast of the day. Oh my god, of course, last night we were live with the Sparkling Tuna Cup. Shout out to Kozen. I was able to spend the night with Kozen. It was a great time. It was a beautiful broadcast. Now we are back with our regular scheduled broadcasting. Here we go. OSC Season 12 Championship is an event that has been running for the past month. We have been slowly working through the bracket as well. We wrapped up with low bracket round 1. Now we're here with the low bracket round number 2. We have a pure best of 5 as well. It's a lot of matches, a lot of games, a lot of StarCraft is coming up ahead of us, and let's have a look together at all the matches to come. Let's go. Let us go. As they switch teams over, as we catch up on the matches themselves. Here we go. We have 4 best of 5s. We have 4 best of 5s. We have a plethora of Protoss as well, as to be expected, as always, Papi, as always. We start things off with Classic versus Arcfire in a PvP, followed by Creator versus Mixu in a PvZ, HonMonO versus Night Phoenix, followed and ending the night with Middle VK versus MaNa. Oh boy. Now in low bracket round 2, there's actually 8 best of 5s. There's 8 matches, so we're going to be actually splitting this broadcast up into 2 days, covering all 8 matches. I could do it in a broadcast. I definitely could, but today's a really busy day, so it's probably unwise. it's probably unwise to do so. What do I mean by that? Why do I mean by that? Here we go. We have the schedule here today. Today's Monday. We have the first broadcast so far. We have the OSC the OSC Season 12 Championship here at 9 AM KST, followed by the Fairy Cup. That's going to be at 6 PM KST, and then the Wardy TV Monday at 9 PM KST. So we have 3 broadcasts today. If we only had 2 broadcasts, or even just 1, then I would consider casting all 8 matches here and now. But because of the non-stop casting that we have, I do want a break in between OSC and Fairy Cup. I do want a bit of a break. I do want to nap and get some rest in between, if at all possible. So because of that, we are cutting the broadcast in 2, and you actually see on Tuesday, that's the second half. So we have the first half, the first 4 best of 5s here and now, and we have the next set of best of 5s over on Tuesday instead, Tuesday afternoon at 7 PM KST. So that is the plan. That is how we're looking to approach things coming in towards the week. Again, you can see all the other broadcasts throughout the week as well. We have Elite League, we have Sparkling Tuna Cup, we have MSO, we have Kung Fu Cup, the Warcraft 3 edition, we have the Podcast, we have Code for Giants. Plenty of content. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft, as always, live every day, multiple times a day. It's how we do here on the CranKy Ducklings. And again, we start things off with the low bracket round 2. Oh boy. And we kick things off with a PvP. So Classic versus Arcfire is going to be an interesting one. Classic going to be coming in as the favorite player, of course. He is the heavy favorite to make a deep run, and to advance on into the next round. Arcfire, he's an interesting player here just because he was on a big hiatus. He was on a big hiatus. He had left for quite some time. He is recently returning to the competitive scene, recently returning to joining Alien Esports as well. He has been on that grind. He's been looking very strong as of late, but still kind of rising the ranks, still improving. I still have a really hard time at placing Arcfire amongst the other players at the moment. He's been spiking up when it comes to some big results. I still do place him, a bit under players like Geralt and Jumi and Christiana, but we'll see how Arcfire performs here against Creator. We shall see. Sorry, against Classic, I meant to say. Creator's next. So much Protoss. they're all blending together, Pappy. Oh my god. We're jumping into game 1. Game 1 is going to be here on Ultra Love. Let's go. So we are jumping in. Just catching up with the chats. I do see it. Noam Chomsky, Psycons as well. Babylings. Hello, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Good morning. Good to see you all. Fried Fish as well. Welcome. And Bromista. Bromista. And here we go. We're jumping into our fresh episode 5 and spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Ultra Love. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss. It is Classic. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the French Protoss player, the purple Protoss, rocking his old clan tag, but representing Alien Esports. It is Arrowfire. We go. We are going to be settling into our first PvP of the day. Our first of many, I'm sure. Don't you worry. We'll be all over it, Pappy. We'll be all over it. As we are going to be settling in. And so far, welcome one and all to Ultra Love. Ultra Love, of course, being one of the more macro maps in the PvP map pool. What I mean by that, there's a ramp. There's a ramp coming into the natural, which means it is safe to go for this kind of setup. A gate into Cybercore, into Nexus, a greedy opener here, a greedy setup, economic setup for Classic. I should say the same for Arrowfire, but interesting. Arrowfire, he does set up on the high ground instead. He's going for the gateways on top of the ramp into a more aggressive start here. Now, Classic does confirm. He does confirm. Now, the likelihood, the chances of this turning into an all-base all-in is there. There is a chance this could turn into an all-in. Classic is aware of that, and Classic should be playing this safe. We should be seeing a Stargate before Nexus. As Arrowfire does hide his probe, does hide his pylon. The pylon is thrown down, but it's thrown down closer to the Arrowfire side of the map. So I don't know if this is really going to be a committed proxy here. It's very far away for a proxy robo. Yeah, very far out there. Likewise, probe does dip into the main base. We have these zealots on the way to focus on that pylon. And we are going to be committing to a proxy gateway. Interesting. So we have one gate to the main. We have one gateway proxied. And we're going to commit into a... Okay, it is a one base all in. Curious. Now this is quite far away, but maybe because it's further away, it's less likely to be scouted here, so this could still work out well for Arrowfire, especially if Classic does skip his tech. But there it is. Stargate gets thrown down before the Nexus, so this is going to be a more safe start here for Classic. With this, he scouts as well. Big moment here for Classic. Gets eyes on the pylon, the robo, the 2 gate here set up. It's going to be 3 gate robo out of Arrowfire, and the Zealot is arrived. The Zealot has arrived, going straight for the pylon. And do we have anything to defend this? A Stalker has arrived, waddling across the map. The pylon taking a lot of hits already, and Classic, he's completely shutting this down. The pylon, it should fall. There's a backup pylon on the way. I mean, there's no other way out of this for Arrowfire. He cannot transition. He has to commit. Does have to commit. Pylon goes down. Depowers the production. Another Stalker has arrived. You can see here Arrowfire is under fire. Being forced further back. Yeah, he's being forced further back. Classic, he will win this trade. At the same time, Zealots going for the pylon. At least they should. As Zealot, there we go, does redirect. Stalker takes a lot of damage. Classic has to back off. Should have a reinforcing Stalker on the way. Regardless, did delay. Now has to retreat. Oh, he wants that Stalker. Up! He wants it. Oh my god, a 1-to-1 trade. A better trade for Classic, considering the Arrowfire's all in. The pylon is safe, and the proxy will continue back at home. Void Ray. It's going to be Void Ray first. 1 Void Ray has already arrived. 2nd Void Ray is on the way. Classic looking very secure. We should be seeing shield batteries, and even more shield batteries. Oh boy. Now, when it comes to Arrowfire, he can go for the Prism. Yeah, Prism's on the way, which means Arrowfire, he can actually rotate between the natural and the main. He doesn't have to strike one location. That's why the shield battery is where it is. It is placed in between the bases, so it can support both the main and the natural. And it's going to be up to Arrowfire here to avoid that Void Ray, to keep that Prism alive. Easier said than done. Oh boy. Arrowfire does poke in. He's got 8 Stalkers. Jesus, has a lot of Stalkers. 8 Stalkers for Arrowfire. Classic trying to hold on. He's up to 2 Void Rays. Extra Warp Pins. Does wall up. Has the Sentry. Has a Force Field. And even the NG overcharge as well. Does get the overcharge. Void Ray threatening a dive. 2nd shield battery is finishing up. Stalker's taking a lot of hits, a lot of damage. Up. Arrowfire trying to force his way through. Alas, does pick away at one of those Void Rays, but so far, barely any hull damage. Classic is looking secure. As he's getting a 4th Void Ray. He's slowly building up that soul count, but again, he was delayed. Oh. Chipping away at the Cybercore. Cybercore taking a lot of hits, does dive in, and gets 1 Void Ray. 1 Void Ray goes down. Nice force fields looking down the Stalkers. Nice juggling though out of Arcfire. Does save almost everything. You're losing 1 Stalker so far. Up, and he gets a 2nd Void. 2nd Void Ray goes down to 1. And Arcfire, he's forcing his way through. Barely not able to get himself that Cybercore. Cybercore barely surviving a little bit longer. Extra Stalker Warp-ins. Oh, and these shield batteries are a little bit late here. Shield batteries are delayed for Classic. Oh, once again, another Void Ray goes down to 1. 1 Void Ray left, and Arcfire, has he done it? He's breaking through the shield batteries out of energy. Again, the late overcharge, late energy overcharge. GG gets called, and despite being scouted, despite being slowed down, Arcfire will take a lead in the series. Let's go. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Arcfire does take a lead, and with that, we're now going to be jumping into game 2. Let's go. Does take a lead. Impressive stuff here. Again, the backup shield batteries were delayed for Classic. I will say that. They were far later, and he did need them desperately. Likewise, it was a shame to see the NG overcharge a little bit late as well. As we saw, it was thrown down after the Void Ray had been sniped. So a bit of a lapse in control there from Classic. Did slip up, and with that, Arcfire did overwhelm. Let's go. Let us go. I see someone asking in the chat, since when a Void Ray is a thing in PvP? If you haven't been watching PvP or Protoss for the past 5 years, then maybe you haven't seen any, but Void Rays are very common when it comes to early game defense. When you go for a Stargate opener, because you're stuck with the Stargate, you can't make Oracles or Phoenixes. They will not help you in that kind of setup, but Void Rays are only seen defensively in PvP. If you've been watching MaxPax, for example, MaxPax is very, very fond of them when it comes to his typical openers. Again, ever since like the COVID era of StarCraft, like 2020, like end of 2019 into 2020 is when we did see them kind of rise in popularity. But here we go, we're getting into our next game and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Whispers of Gold. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss. It is Classic. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the purple Protoss player, the French Protoss, representing Alien Esports, leading the series 1-0. It is Arcfire. But yeah, specifically in that situation, when you're up against an all-in, when your opponent's all-inning you, and if you have a Stargate, you need Void Rays, because it's, what else can you make, right? The alternative would be, of course, if you had like a Robo, ideally you'd have Immortal production, but with a Stargate, that's kind of what you're stuck with. Likewise, in that situation as well, you have to be very careful with how you activate your prismatic alignment when it comes to your Void Rays, just because they're perfect when it comes to dealing with Stalkers, but they also lock you down as they slow the units as well, so you have to be very careful when and how you use them, making sure that you always have one available when your opponent's trying to dive in. There's a lot that comes into it, but for now we're getting into game 2, and we see Classic opening up with a proxy of his own. Let's go. The turns have tabled. Arcfire took a lead in the series, but now it's time for Classic to commit, as the probe does stick around. Now, based on its location, this wouldn't be a bad location for a proxy Stargate, but I mean, likewise, a proxy Robo is also going to be viable here. We'll see how hard Classic does commit, waiting for the Cybercore to finish. Cybercore's now done. What do you have for us? Proxy Robo. Let's go. One base all in. So now the turns of table. Now it's going to be Arcfire's turn to defend. We'll see if he can survive this. We'll see if he can hold. Now, because of the 2-gate opener, Arcfire, he has the option. If he realizes what's going on in time, you can see he's looking. He's scouting. Arcfire, he checked the main base. He saw that the second pylon was missing. He knows that there's a proxy pylon somewhere, and he's looking. He's checking on the left-hand side for a proxy pylon. He should be sending out a second probe towards the right-hand side as well, as he's opening up with a Twilight Council. A rough move here for Arcfire. I mean, at least he isn't expanding, that is true, but Blink may not be a factor in this initial defense. The ideal would be, you realize something is wrong, play it safe, open up Robo. For now, Hallucination moves out. Again, he's still looking for the proxy. Probe is still active as well, checking for an expansion. As we know, there is just a one base all in, but Arcfire is still trying to determine that. Does zip in, does get past, and now he knows. Now he knows. He sees nothing in the main and nothing in the natural. He doesn't know exactly what's being proxied, but he knows that there is an all-in coming, or there is a proxy out of the map. So back at home, gateway, shield battery. Good response. Good response so far. Getting a shield battery, getting gateway as well. Ooh, Adepse do shade in, but they shouldn't commit. Just keeping an eye on the setup here of his opponent. Blink has begun, but again, it's going to take a while for Blink to really come online. And here comes Classic. The Prism has already arrived and Immortal production well underway. Here we go. As a Classic is making his way into the mineral line, to Adepse, they one-shot probes. So they one-shot workers. As Classic does make his way into the natural. Oh, getting one. Getting 2 probes already, not bad. And he does a shade out of there. 3 probes. 3 probes go down. Does shade away. Very efficient pickoffs here by Classic. From here he rotates. Immortal has arrived. And Blink is halfway done. Blink is halfway done. The fight is about to occur. Now, Arcfire has to be so careful about these force fields. Remember, without Blink Stalkers, these force fields, they can completely lock down an army. Pylon's going to get picked up. Adepse shed into the mineral line. Probe's going to be going down. Boys are being pulled. He's going for the pylons. He get 1, he gets 2. 2 pylons going down, and he will depower 2 of the gateways. Brutal pickoffs. Arcfire, he can warp in 1 Stalker at a time. He's supply blocked. He's supply blocked as well. Blink is soon to finish. And Classic still has some force fields available. He has 1, he has 1 more. The counter force field here out of Arcfire. Second Immortal has arrived. So far, good juggling here by Classic. Does pull away. Gateways are repowered. Arcfire no longer supply blocked. He can warp in. But the first gateway is going to fall. Down to 2 gates. 2 gates left. Blink about to finish. Which means Arcfire can dive in. Can poke forward. But the second gateway now under fire as well. Okay, getting a second gate. Third Immortal has arrived. Now, if Arcfire can snipe the War Prism, then maybe. Oh, speaking of, he gets 1. He doesn't quite get the second volley. Gets 1 volley up. The Prism barely survives. 1 shot away from going down. And now he can still reinforce. He goes to the dive. He does blink down to low ground. But the production is under fire. Was that worth it? Is it too late? Boys are being pulled. There's still 3 Immortals. 1 Immortal goes down. Nice target firing at a Classic. As he takes out another Stalker. 2 Stalkers left. It looks like Classic, he's done it. He has overwhelmed. GG gets called, and Classic, he will tie up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. We have a PvP. We have let's go. Game 1, we have a committed proxy out of Arcfire, does overwhelm. Game 2, it is of course Classic's turn. Game 3, do we proxy each other, or do we get it out of our system? Do we calm things down, and do we enter a more macro game instead? We'll keep an eye on our players. So far, we haven't tied things up. No clear lead yet from either player, but something that is clear, the cheese, the proxies. Let's go. That's really what we're here for, you know. That's why we love PvP. Is the non-stop aggression. And now we're jumping into game number 3. We're going to be loading into ley lines. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player. We have the red Protoss from the land of South Korea. Tying things up 1-1. It is Classic. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the purple Protoss player from the land of France. Representing Elite Esports, it is Arcfire. Here we go. As we are going to be settling in. And once again, because there's no ramp coming into the natural, we are going for our typical 2-gate opener. 2-gate setup out of Arcfire, 2-gate setup out of Classic. The question becomes, do we proxy a pylon? And even if we proxy a pylon, do we commit, or do we try to fake out our opponents? Sorry, I should get rid of the tuner. Shout out to the tuner, though. That was our last night's broadcast. We'll remove that for the next game. We'll try to remember. Sparkling tuner cup. But yeah, like something like a fake proxy pylon, I think would do well here, considering how the series has gone so far. Clearly, both players have shown the willingness to be aggressive and to proxy and to cheese. So we could try to fake each other out. For now, Arcfire, he dives into the main base. He's looking for that second pylon, and it looks like Classic will hide it. Okay, Classic, he will hide the pylon. Based on its location, looks to be a fake proxy pylon. This wouldn't be the worst location for a Stargate, but this should not be a gateway or a robo. So this is not a one-base all-in. As opposed to what's been happening so far in this series, this looks like, yeah, just regular fake proxy pylon. The probe does not stick around, so the reason why the pylon is placed out here in the corner of the map is because in the early game with your scouting probe, you're counting pylons. You're counting pylons, you know that there should be a pylon right now because of how supply works, of course, and it's not here. So now he confirms the pylon is missing, and based on how this series has gone, the chances of this being a proxy is quite high, and ideally, Classic wants to force Arcfire to overreact. So mind games, basically. Mind games here across the map. Classic doesn't even probe scout, so once again makes it look like his probe is doing other things. Is up to no good. And it is going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Arcfire. This, I think, is going to fare better. If you recall in the last game, I had a little bit of dismay when we saw the initial Twilight Council. It's not really a defensive start here, and as we saw, it wasn't really applicable to the last game when it came to the early game defense. Coming into a longer game, though, I think this is a good risk that Arcfire is taking, or I should say the outcome is going to be a little bit better here for him as he's working towards a faster blink. Classic is going to be the first to expand, Arcfire's base is going to be delayed, but he will at least have faster blink stalkers coming online. As Arcfire, you can see he's looking for the pylon, he's scouting, he barely missed the pylon, barely did miss it. So Arcfire, he's actually moving out the hallucination as well, being very persistent when it comes to his scouting. Checks with the hallucination, checks with the probe, moves out with the army, and now he confirms the expansion. Now he knows it is a fake, and now the pressure is on Arcfire to move out. He does need a counterattack, and we'll see what he can get done. Classic back at home. Shield battery, sorry, is not on the way. That's a second pylon. But he does have a force field. There's a guardian shield as well. See what he goes for. Arcfire, he has more DPS. Oh, pokes in. Third stalker has arrived. Classic with the defender's advantage. And now Arcfire, he has to back off. He has to pull away. Ooh, so far so good. Classic, he holds. Does hold on. Shouldn't chase this too far out, as he's going to be heading over halfway across the map. Oh! Yo, the high ground vision. Let's go. For Classic. He wants to push in, takes out the sentry. Nice pickup. Sentry goes down. Trading with the main army. Gonna get a stalker as well. Trading 1 for 1. They're losing another stalker. But for the cost of a sentry, this I don't think was the best trade here for Classic, I'll be honest. Did get 2 stalkers though, so actually, never mind. It was a better trade. The stalker. Meanwhile, Arcfire throwing down a proxy in the center of the map. Oh my god. Okay, behind this, remember, Blink is almost done. Because of this timing, there is a window where Arcfire has Blink and Classic does not. It's a small window, but a window nonetheless. And Arcfire, he's pushing in. He wants to make use of this. He wants to make use of this Blink timing. Let's go. Behind this, he did expand. He does have an economy. But he's hoping to break Classic here and now. Shield battery's not done. Oh, finishing up just in time. Oh, not to save the stalker, though. One stalker goes down. Classic trying to move out, gets punished. Stalker taking a lot of damage. Blink is revealed. And the Blink is now done for Classic. So Classic, he holds. Did lose 1 stalker, did lose his energy on the shield battery, but he does hold. And behind this, do you see what I see? I see a Dark Shrine being proxied. Initially, this was a fake proxy pylon. Much later, it's actually being used. So Dark Shrine has been placed. Adepts, they get across the map. Probe's going to be going down. So far, it's going to be 6 probe kills. 7. This is game ending. This is brutal. This is 7 probes already falling down. You can get 8, 9, 10, up to 11 probe kills. Oh my god. And he's getting them. Meanwhile, across the map, Arcfire, he's distracted. Engaging with the main army, trying to break through. And while he's distracted, he will lose everything. He'll lose every single probe. And Arcfire, he's falling apart here. Even without the DTs, things are looking bleak. GG gets called as Classic will pull Arcfire apart. And Classic takes a lead 2-1 in the best of 5. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, the proxy Dark Shrine wasn't even necessary there. Unfortunately, Arcfire, he was hyper committed to his blink control across the map, to his aggression. Alas, Classic, he slipped by. He slipped by with those adepts. He was able to slip into the mineral line, able to wreak havoc. That was game-winning damage. Remember, that was 11 probes. 11 workers went down to those 2 adepts, and we saw that Classic was able to out-control the Stalker army in the center of the map as well. Things were, going south on both ends there for Arcfire. And with that, Classic is now on match point. It's been a fast series, I'll be honest. It's been a fast series so far. This time, we didn't see one base all-ins, but we still saw aggression. It was still an aggressive game nonetheless. We'll see what map 4 has in store for us. Where we dropping? Frostline. Interesting. Frostline is going to be coming up next. It's going to be one of the larger maps in the map pool. Because it's larger, there are little locations for proxies if you wanted to go that route. Likewise, the natural, the third base are less defendable. We'll get into it. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frostline, we have the red Protoss player. The South Korean Protoss leading the series 2-1, one game away from advancing on into the next round. It is a Classic. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the purple Protoss player from Atlanta, France, representing Alien Esports. It is Arcfire. Here we go. As we have seen fake and real proxy pylons this entire series, every single game so far, we'll see where we throw them down this time. Oh, god damn it, I forgot to get rid of the tuna. God damn it. After this game, I'll try to remember. I'll do my best. It's not your time, Bobby. It's not your time. It was yesterday. Este tuna. As we are moving out. Arcfire once again coming with the probe scouts. The first pylon is placed. And does Classic proxy his second pylon? That's the question. Does he proxy or does... Nope, the answer is no. Probe is... Oh, sorry, my apologies. I thought we were moving out to throw down the pylon in between the bases, in between the gases. Not the case. Classic is hiding his probe and he is hiding his pylon once again. And again, because of how this series has played out, I mean... Where's your mind at for Arcfire, right? Like, is it is it real? Is it fake? I feel like we have to open up Robo, right? It has to be a Robo-based opener this time. The Twilight Council was not really ideal last game, even in a game where Classic didn't cheese initially. Pylon is done. Classic is stuck around, waiting for the Cybercore. Cybercore is still seconds away from finishing. And Arcfire, he confirms that the pylon is missing. He knows. Cybercore is done. Proxy Robo, one base all in. And this I'm all for. Arcfire, for the first time in the series, he sees that a pylon is missing and he opens up Robo. Safe opener. Very safe opener here by Arcfire. We're done with the Twilight Council. We're done with the blink-based play. We're done with that. Robo into Immortal production. This is the most offensive opener you can go for here from the side of Arcfire. This time he doesn't take any chances. Even though he hasn't seen what's going on, I mean, he's up against the wall, right? Classic's on match point. We can't afford any more losses. Not for Arcfire. And we'll see if he can survive. We'll see if he can hold. Now, the way this works here is essentially we should have an equivalent immortal count. Yes, on the one hand, Classic is Robo's faster, true, so his production is faster, but Arcfire has a defender's advantage. So because of that, he's going to be able to bring them out a lot sooner. Adepts move out. Arcfire, he barely does miss the proxy. Ay. Does barely miss it, but is moving out across the map. He's going to be threading the bases here of a Classic. Classic will keep up, though. He will show away those Adepts. Adepts, they come in for the scouts, and they should confirm there is no natural. Yeah, he checks. Checks, no natural base. He knows something is wrong. He's now aware. Arcfire moving out with his prism. Trying to harass across the map, and based on his movement here, it looks like he will find the proxy. There we go. He finds the Robo. He knows what's going on. Immortal production has begun. He has the high ground. He has sentries, force fields. He's ready. At the same time, though, Classic diving into the main, avoiding the ramp. Coming in with full stalkers. Shield batteries on the way. This is too late. The Immortal has arrived. Going for the sentry. Oh no! They get trapped. First sentry goes down. Massive pickup. Yeah, no Guardian Shield, no Force Field. Better trade for Classic. Arcfire taking a lot of early hits here, a lot of early losses. Meanwhile, across the map, does get into the mineral line. He gets, what, four probes. Not bad. Did I say 4? Getting even more. Yeah, 5, 6, 7 probes going down. Can then save the Adepts. At the same time, Classic trying to force his way in. There's the recall back home. The Immortal! Oh my god. Takes a bit of hull damage. Does survive. Flush moves there to Classic, saving the Immortal. Likewise, Arcfire locking down the army. Building up his own Immortal count. And again, the armies are comparable with each other. But Arcfire has shield batteries. Yeah, shield batteries, he has the defense advantage. Up! Immortal takes a lot of hits. Stalkers, they poke up the ramp. Going for the pylon. Once again, a lot of hull damage here on the Immortal. Pylon does go down, deep in the gateways. Brutal pickoffs. Arcfire having a hard time keeping up. Pylon goes down, supply blocking Arcfire. Losing 2 pylons. Bit of miscontrol here. The Prism is getting very exposed. Has to pull away. Get the Stalker, not bad. Oh. The Prism taking a lot of fire. But does get away. Whew. Does barely pull out. Rest of the army does come in to reinforce. The Immortals of Classic are very low. Yeah, they're 1 shot away from going down. Yeah, they're so close to falling. Flush control. Arcfire saves the Immortal, and meanwhile Classic loses 2, losing everything. 1 Immortal left. And Classic just taking so much hull damage on those Immortals earlier, but he was taking the pylon down here towards the right hand side. Took too much damage, too many losses. And Classic is running out of steam. 1 final Immortal left. He's making another. But the pylons are under fire. Classic out of position. 1 pylon goes down. Depowers the robo. Classic behind this, throwing down the Stargate. He's trying to transition. Trying to get out of this. Classic getting supply blocked. Still commits. Still moves in. Has to be so careful though. Yeah, losing a Stalker. Likewise, diving into the main. Force back. Going for the mineral line, taking a lot of hits. Oh, 1 Immortal goes down. Arcfire with some miscontrol. Likewise, that Prism taking some hull damage. Does take some damage. Phoenix production has begun for Classic. Phoenixes, they actually have a lot of utility here this early on, especially against a low amount of units, against a small army. Like 1 lift can make or break a fight. But the problem here is that, again, Arcfire, he has just so many Immortals, and Classic is still down to 1. I mean, he can't make any more. The robe is a non-factor here. It's 4 Immortals for Arcfire. Classic moving out. With his Prism, he gets spotted. Arcfire has to make a choice. Does he commit, or does he defend back at home, or does he commit across the map? He's committing. He leaves the Stalkers back at home to defend. He's ready here in the main. Does spot the Prism. Oh my god. Massive volley goes off. Lift being spent on the Adept, which is a little bit concerning. Don't want to waste those lifts. Stalker is out of position. Probe's going to be going down. At the same time, Arcfire pushing in towards that main. Does move towards the main base. Takes out 1 of the Immortals. Yeah, miscontrol out of Classic. Adepts shade into the main base as well. The Adepts should be cleaned up. But Classic down to 1 Immortal. Up against 4. And Arcfire, he expands. That's all he has to do. Just expand and contain his opponent. Arcfire, he doesn't have to push into the main. There's no need. He's far enough ahead. Like, he's up 10 workers. Gets controlled low ground. The force fields the ramp. Looks down the army. GG gets called. And Arcfire ties up the series 1-1. We're going to the ace match. Whew. GG. We're going to game 5. Oh my god. And again, it's been a very intense, very short series. I'd say short series. We're going all the way to the ace match, but the games themselves have been very short and very intense. and we'll see how this story ends. We have yet to experience both players proxying and all-in each other. That still has not happened. What I will say, winding it back, it was just a really rough position for Classic because of how this series has played out. Because we've had so much cheese and so much aggression, it makes sense for Arcfire to scout that the pylon was missing and respond with the robo. So unfortunately, Classic, he was a little bit too, I would say, a little bit too obvious, a little bit too predictable. That's maybe a better word there. A little bit too predictable play there from a Classic. This time, Arcfire, he played very safely, very defensively, and he was able to shut down the aggression, shut down the all-in. GG, well played. I'm not too fond of proxying here in the ace match. We'll see. The problem here, I mean, it goes both ways. If either player hides a pylon, if either player commits, the chances are there's going to be a robo follow-up from the defending player. Like, at this point, because of how the series has played out, there's a very high chance that's going to occur, and that'll make it even more difficult for the aggressing player to break them in an all-in. I am all for, like, a fake proxy pylon, though. 100%. We'll see. Or even like a proxy Stargate, right? Like a proxy Stargate opener into an expansion that could do well. Regardless, we're jumping in. We're jumping into the ace match. Here we go. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressvan, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? It is a Classic. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the purple Protoss player. We have the purple Protoss representing Elite Esports. It is Arcfire. We go. Who can tell who is who? Oh, we should ask them both to be teal and blue next time. True. But yeah, unfortunately, I guess this is maybe the worst with Protoss. You can maybe argue with some of the other races, but the base color is very much so yellow. It's very much so yellow here, and the purple and red accents aren't as noticeable. They aren't as noticeable, so really they're both yellow, really, when it comes to this. So it can be a little bit more difficult to distinguish the two. But here we go. We are going to be settling in. And so far, 2-gate opener. 2-gate opener out of Classic. Likewise, 2-gate opener out of Arcfire. We go. Oh. As for the first time, is this the first time this series? I think so. I think for the first time this series, Classic throws down the second pylon in the main. Let's go. Has thrown down in the main. We actually have a standard setup here. Likewise, second pylon in the main base for Arcfire as well. No one is proxying, no one is cheesing, and no one is faking a proxy either. Let's go. So we can embrace a longer game state. And also, welcome one and all to Gressvan. If you're a little bit newer to StarCraft, you may not have seen this map before. Gressvan was in the map pool a couple of years ago, back in 2022, I want to say, like coming into 2023. So it's been a couple of years since we've had Gressvan in the map pool. For those that are curious as to why we're casting on Gressvan, the OSC tournaments and the OSC Championship, as a result, they feature an extended map pool. Basically, the players and casters all vote on certain maps to be added to the map pool to spice things up. And the reality is that there are certain maps in the current ladder map pool that are, what's the best way of putting it? I'm not really seen too fondly of at the moment. God, I forgot to get rid of the tuna. I'm not really seen too fondly of, and because of that, even the players, as you can see here, are willing to play on some of these older maps instead of maps like, you know, Abyssal Reef, Neo-Violet Square, King's Cove. They'd rather play on maps like Gressvan instead. So Gressvan is a map that was voted in for the tournament. Was voted in. And we're able to see it here and now. Do love to see it, do appreciate it. Behind this, Twilight Council. Twilight Council opener out of Classic. Likewise, Robo opener out of Arcfire as well. So far, so good. So a very safe opener out of Arrowfire, something more assertive out of Classic. Of course, Classic is going to gain map control with Blink Stalkers. That's going to be the added benefit here for the South Korean Protoss player. Arrowfire, he can start early Prism, early Immortal production to have a more robust army, but less maneuverable army. As the first step is shut down, the other does shade into the mineral line, nothing to kill, nothing to really wreak havoc. So far, good defense here by Arrowfire. He will shut this down. Step is going to go down. And here comes the initial move out here from Arrowfire. As a reminder, he does have the faster War Prism. The Prism is here to reinforce, to move out. How many gateways? He's got 1, he's got 2, he's got 3. So a 3-gate opener out of Arrowfire. Hyper aggression, not an all-in, but very aggressive here from our French Protoss. And Classic back at home, what does he have? He has 1 shield battery. He should be down in gateways. Yep, he's down in gateways. He'll have a smaller army, but he does have the shield battery to support. Is it going to be enough? Classic half his army's in the main. Uh-oh. Is that a position? Force fields get locked down. First Stalker is going to fall, trading 1 for 1. Oh, the bigger micro. Saves Stalker, saves sentries as well. 1 sentry does fall. So far, Force fields just locking everything down. But the Force fields are running out. Arrowfire pushing in. Boys are being pulled. Can Classic survive? Can he hold on? Takes out the Stalker. A lot of probes going to be falling. There's so many Stalkers just locked behind the Forces. They do nothing. They cannot help. They cannot fight. Blink is not done. And it looks like Arrowfire, he's done it. He breaks through. The Force fields are too good. And again, Blink is just now finishing up after the fight concludes, after there's almost nothing left. As Classic has lost control of the natural, Arrowfire pushing in. Breaks the natural expansion. And there's nothing left. There's nothing left. We're down to 4 Stalkers. The Force fields, they were too good. Blink will save the Stalkers at least, but not the base. Not the expansion. Another good Force field, looking down another Stalker. Gateways under fire. And I mean, Classic has already lost so many workers behind this. Back at home, Arrowfire getting a 4th gateway, getting another, just more production. Able to reinforce. Losing another Stalker. GG gets called, and Arrowfire, he will take the series 3-2 in a massive upset. He knocks Classic out of the tournament. GG. GG, well played, Arrowfire. He will claim the series. Coming into this Classic, he was the favorite player to win the series, to make a deep run in this tournament. He's one of the big names in the OSC Season 12 Championship. But we didn't get any macro here, and I would have favored Classic in a standard macro game coming into 2, 3, 4 base saturation. Even before that, I would favor Classic here, but this was a very intense series, non-stop all-ins, cheese, aggression from both players, not just from Arrowfire, from Classic as well. In the end, after this intense knife fight of a PvP, Arrowfire comes out on top. GG. GG well played. Once again, when it came to the initial openers, it does take a little bit longer for Blink to come into play. As we saw, Blink did not finish until the end of the fight, and it was just really unfortunate that the fight did commence with Classic not quite seeing the army moving out across the map. Didn't see it moving out. He had half his Stalkers in the main base, so the fight commenced with half his army out of position. Likewise, because of that, a lot of those Stalkers never really came into play because of the force fields. Like, it was so important there that Arrowfire, he was able to lock down the army, lock down the ramp specifically, made sure that there was most of the army, if not half of the army, just not able to engage. Boys were being pulled. Once again, force fields also cut them off as well, and yeah, with that, Arrowfire did snowball out of control. GG, well played. Does claim the series, does take the first win of the day. Congratulations. Congratulations to Arrowfire. My condolences to Classic as he is knocked out of the tournament. And we'll see if we get any other crazy upsets here tonight, because we're getting ready for our next series here, for our next match. We're going to be loading into a PvZ between Mixu and Creator. Let's go. Let us go. Bam. as we're taking a break from the mirror matchups and jumping into and featuring some Zerg. Let's go. Let us go. Game 1 is going to be on ley lines. As a reminder, these are all matches in the lower brackets. These are all elimination matches. You lose here, you're out of this. You're out of the tournament. You'll be out of the event. And here we go. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Finnish Zerg player, the Blue Zerg. Whew, representing the Mlem, it is Mixu. Not Clem. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Green Protoss player, the Red Protoss. It is Creator. Here we go. Here we go. So we are going to be settling in and calming things down. So far, standard open out of Mixu. I'm curious if Mixu is willing to open up in a bit of a different fashion. Again, I mentioned before that quite a number of European Zerg players have been embracing the Eric opener. We've seen it from at least players like Eva, players like Fiance. I don't know if Mixu is one to really mix it up in such a way, though. Mixu, in my mind at least, it's... God, I keep forgetting. The tutor's still there. But even in my mind, at least, is a player that very often does play standard, more standard than anything. If we see aggression out of... Sorry, I think I said Eva. Mixu. If we see aggression out of Mixu, it's usually in the mid-game. In the mid-game, based on like 2.5 base play or 3 base play. But we'll keep an eye on Mixu, as I don't get to cast him as often as I would like. Don't get to cast him too often. For now, Gate expand into Cybercore. Whereas there are certain players that I would cast like on an almost daily basis. Mixu more like once a week sort of thing. Once a week. Maybe once every 2 weeks. So I'm ready for it. If you recall, last time we casted Mixu was last week in the Wings of Liberty tournament, in the Monday Night of Wings, which isn't really applicable to this tournament. Different format, different game mode. As for now, we are going to be getting into link speed, pulling out of gas, so no early bailiness, no early tech, no early lair, no roaches, just link speed, saturating that natural base, and soon to be taking the third as well. So far as standard openers, it was an intense first series between Arrow Fire and Classic, but we are slowing things down here between Mixu and Creator. We're being... Oh, I spoke too soon. Creator going for a Twilight Council before the third base. Oh my god. A much more aggressive start out of Creator. From here, we have a couple of options. If he pulls out of gas, then this should be Glaive Adepts. If he stays in gas, this should be a Dark Shrine opener instead for DTs. So this should be one or the other. Creator, he does like to mix it up. Outside of just the more standard play. And it's going to be a Mixu to get a read on what's going on. To recognize what's happening. As he does pull out of gas, which means we should be seeing Glaives. There we go. Glaives are on the way. So it's going to be 4-gate Glaives here out of Creator. Now, this is not an all-in. If he actually pulls back into gas, then this can turn into like a 6-gate all-in. But this should just be 4. Just 4 gateways into a third base. This is designed to cripple the Zerg player, to get economic damage done early on, and to give the Protoss player a lead coming into the mid-game. That's typically the goal here, the purpose of this build. And we'll see how Mixu responds. So far, Mixu, he does confirm the third base is not here. It is delayed. So he's aware that something is amiss. Spores being thrown down. This is for Oracle defense, but there are no Oracles. And in a couple of seconds, we should be seeing a safety Roach Warren. We should be seeing a Roach Warren in a couple of seconds here. I'm getting concerned if we don't. If we don't get a Roach Warren, then Mixu could just be torn apart. Adepts are amassing. Adepts are moving out. Adepts are now revealed. Back at home, there it is. It is going to be a slightly more delayed Roach Warren. Spinecrawler is going to be on the way. We'll see if Mixu can prepare in time, as this is more of a delayed reaction and a delayed response. Mixu trying to wall up. Again, in a bit of a panic. Up. Is trying to wall. Yeah, Queens, they move forward to buy some time. Lings have to keep up with the shades, and so far, full wall. Okay, there's a full wall here at the natural. So far, so good. Adepts are being locked down. Ooh, they do commit to the shade. Lings are keeping up. So far, 2 adepts do fall. Nicely done. And Mixu, he will defend. He will shut this down. Cleans up the adepts. 0 economic damage, but the prison does get into the main. And adepts, they slip in. They do slip in. Making their way towards the natural. Yeah, more reinforcements on the way. And so far, one drone is going down, and roaches are amassing. Mixu has done well for himself, but it's still not over. Still not over here. Oh, here's him on a fire. Flush transfuse. Pulling away the queen, forcing the recall, and Mixu holds. Whew, Mixu, he does hold. Adepts, they did race back, and now Mixu can drone, and he needs to drone up. Ooh, as he will lose a second worker. Losing a third. 3 drones going down. Nice pickles out of Creator. And as it all settles, who do we favor here? Well, on the one hand, Lair's done. Lair's finishing up for Mixu so he can start Roach speed. Likewise, he's free to drone, free to saturate. I would say that Mixu has a decent edge here, but at the same time, again, Creator, this is not an all-in. Like, as we were trying to emphasize earlier, 4-gate glaives is not an all-in at all. It is just designed to give you an edge. It did not give Creator the lead he was hoping for, though, so he is going to be vulnerable until he builds up the Immortal count, and the first Immortal has arrived. So he's going to be stuck at home building up Immortals, getting into +1 and Blink. Mixu, unfortunately, he's not really set up for a counterattack, so Mixu is going to be stuck at home droning, and he needs a 4th base as quickly as possible. He's got a 4th base up and running, and macro up, as we're getting into a longer game state. Phase on the way. Second robo as well. This looks like a Colossus. So Creator building up a ground-based death bull of an army. Moves out with the second wave. Okay, that's still a lot of adepts. And the first Immortal as well. Oh. Mixu has been droning. Mixu, he's been droning. He doesn't really have much of an army. He only has 10 roaches. And Mixu, he's in a lot of trouble. He's in a lot of trouble here. He was busy droning, not making an army. Queen's getting caught out. Gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. 3, soon to be 4 Queens fall. Brutal pickoffs. And Creator, he may have just done it. Yeah, trading so well here. Bailings, they try to waddle in. They don't get the connections they're hoping for. Queen count was reset. Adepts, they shed into the main. And Mixu's just being pulled apart. Yeah, being completely pulled apart here. Unfortunately, he wasn't, and I wasn't expecting a push this early on at a Creator. Remember, Creator, he's taking up into double Colossus production, and the reality is he doesn't even need it. He doesn't even need the Colossus because he's doing so well already. Getting 5 drone kills, resetting the Queen count, catching out some of the roaches. Creator, he will back up, he will retreat. He will give Mixu some breathing room, but again, Creator, he's perfectly safe back at home. He's perfectly fine. It's Mixu who's hurting, and Mixu, it looks like he's being forced into an all-in. What do I mean by that? Mixu, he is not redroning. He's going to be sticking with 60 workers. You can see here he did not resaturate those gases. No 4th base. And if you look at the production tab, purely Ling Road Ravager. So Mixu is all in. He's just too far behind to recover. And it's all or nothing for Mixu. Either he breaks Creator or he dies trying. Morphing in Bailings. Morphing in Bailings. Mixu rotating over towards the right hand side. Does avoid the main army. More Bailings morphing in. And we'll see if Mixu can pull apart Creator. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy here. Mixu does hit the natural. Tries to break through. Lin Bane gets shut down. And Creator, yeah, he's keeping up. He's keeping up with the army. Nice force fields locking down those roaches. Oh my god. Bailey's, they do get in, teasing connections, 9 probes going down, 10 probes even. And this would be good if Mixu wasn't all in. Oh, so far though, getting us over the Colossus. Trying to at least Colossus taking a lot of hits. Meanwhile, the natural gets defended. Second Colossus has arrived, and Creator, he shuts this down completely. GG gets called. Not enough damage dealt, and Creator, he will hold. He will take a lead in the series. GG. GG, well played, Creator. He will take a lead. Again, Mixu initially had really good defense. He had a really nice defense against the Glaive Adepts, but it was the follow-up. It was the second wave that caught him completely off guard. The pants were down, Poppy. The pants were completely down. And unfortunately, Mixu just was not ready for that second push. Again, like, I wasn't really expecting it either, to move out with one Immortal, with a handful of sentries, and with like a bit of an amalgamation of an army, but it did well. Did very well there. Mixu, he was in the middle of droning, and with that, he was overwhelmed. From there, that's when he was forced into the all-in, and Creator, who was perfectly fine against it. The Colossus did arrive just in time. GG. GG, well played. Whew, we're now getting into game number 2, and we'll see if Mixu can bounce back, or if Creator extends his lead, as we're getting into Frostline. Loading into Frostline here. A much larger map in the map pool. So I don't expect another Twilight Council opener, but we'll see. As... oh. okay, we're good. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Frostline, we have the Finnish Zerg player, the blue Zerg, down in this series. We'll see if he can bounce back and recover. It is Mixu. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss. Ooh, leading the series 1-0, it is Creator. Here we go. Once again, welcome one and all to Frostline, one of the larger maps in the map pool. Rush distance by ground is longer than that of Leyline, so because of that, I don't really expect another Glaive Adept build. We could see, for example, maybe a DT-based opener, or just a standard play or standard build out of Creator. I don't expect him to rely on the same build 2 games in a row, especially considering that it wasn't really too successful initially against Mixu. Wasn't as ideal. I mean, you could argue, sure, it did force out some spine crawlers because it was a delayed response. True, that did happen. Otherwise, we're settling it. To start with is going to be a hatch gas pool opener. Standard play out of Mixu. Creator poking in. And so far, nothing major. Really just Creator, he's checking for early tech. He's checking for early shenanigans, like an earlier Roach War, an earlier Gas Geyser, earlier Spawning Pool, earlier Second Gas. Everything's looking normal, though. As from here, Creator, he will back up. Behind the Cyber Core is done, and we will soon get into our tech of choice. Are getting there. As Link Speed is on the way, Mixu pulls out a gas, so no commitment into a Bane Bus or into Roaches. Standard opener once again out of Mixu. And a Creator, he's just building up his gas to throw down his tech of choice. He's getting there. And there it is. Once again, Twilight Council. Okay, now if you remember, I assumed that we would not see another Glaive Adept build. If we saw a Twilight Council, my assumption was that it was going to be a Dark Shrine into DTs. But, I mean, we'll see. It's up to Creator. Once again, we'll see if he pulls out. We'll see if he pulls out a gas, if he does go for Glaives for a second time, or if he stays in and we see a Dark Shrine instead. On a map like Frostline, I'm not opposed to DTs. I'm not too fond of the idea of going, he pulls out. Okay, Glaives. Okay, we're doing it again. We are doing it again. Bold move. Glaive adepts are on the way here for Creator. Is the same opener, same building games in a row. Ling slips in. Oh no! Ling does slip in and does get a full scout. And Mixu knows. He knows what's going on. This time he is much more aware. This time we should be seeing an earlier Roach Horn. As a reminder, last game, the Roach Horn was at the 4:20 timing, which was a little bit later than we would have liked to have seen. Likewise, we had some really, like some reactive spine crawlers as well. This time, there we go. 3:37 Roach Horn from Mixu. Much earlier, much more intentional here, and the chances of this working for Creator are going to be much lower than game 1. Not saying impossible, but lower here. And this is the risk, and this is the downside of doing the same build 2 games in a row, is that the opposing player is a lot more prone to scouting and checking for it, right? Like, it's one of those things where that surprise factor is gone after it succeeding in game 1, which is why I'm not too fond of this idea, but we'll see, as the episode building up. Lings are amassing for Mixu, cutting workers at 40. He's got 2 gases saturated for his roach production. Here comes Creator. Creator does rally out, making his way towards the 3rd. Glaives is about to finish. And here he comes. How many he's got? 8 adepts so far. Again, he can warp in 4 at a time. There's a Ling in position to deny the expansion. Nicely done. Remember, this is not an all-in. But he will get a queen. Ooh, 1 queen goes down. Nice pickup. Adepts a shade in. Lings are keeping up. Ravagers have morphed. Ooh, this Ravager response though. Oh my god. Will not connect. Lings aiming for the surround. Decent pickups here as adepts are falling. And so far Mixu holds. This time he lost 1 queen, that is true. But this time he did not have to make spine crawlers. No spine crawlers. No other side defense. We have a Dark Shrine follow-up. A little bit desperate here by Creator. He knows that he has not done enough damage. And this time, Mixu, he's not droning. This time, Mixu is going for a massive counter-attack. Lings are moving out. Through the center. Through the top side as well. Roaches are massing. Adepts do shade into the main. They get chopped off. And 2 Adepts can one-shot drones. But Mixu's in position. He does deflect. Up. And likewise, his goal here is to deny the 3rd. The 3rd base is exposed. There is an army in position, though. Somewhat. The pylon is saved. I can't say the same with the shield battery. Ooh, there we go. Barely does go down. But there is a 2nd shield battery. 2nd shield battery is in position. Prism does race back home. And here comes the push. And again, Mixu, he has not been droning. He has not been droning. He's at 39 workers. He's coming here into an all-in. Into a counter all-in. Let's go. The counter has arrived. Biles, they do connect. They take down the sentry. Sentry goes down. But the Immortal does arrive. The shield battery holds on. And Creator, he defends. He holds. He deflects the army. And Mixu's committed. Like he has not been droning. He has not been droning. He cannot back off. But he's forced to. He's forced to retreat. Ooh. Immortal catching up more roaches. And Mixu is in trouble. Now he's droning up. Oh, god. I was hoping that Mixu could at least break the 3rd. Lings, they do slip in. They catch an Immortal. Probes are going down, but there's DTs to defend. And there's still a lot of pressure on Mixu. This is a good run by, though. It's a good run by, getting 5 probes and an Immortal, but he needs more damage. Mixu, he is so far behind. And there's no detection. No detection. This army is going to be completely cleaned up. DT's able in, and Creator is going to completely shut this down. Yeah, 2nd shield battery is done. Bile does not connect. And that's going to be all that Mixu had left. That's all he had. Roaches are going down one after the other. Did get 7 probe kills, but Creator still has a massive economy behind this. More so than Mixu. Again, I'm not opposed to the all-in that Mixu had gone for, but we saw that it did trickle in as well. Like he wasn't able to bring everything together at once. It's a shame that with DTs to defend as well, as there's just no detection. as the Overseer has arrived. But things are looking bleak for our Zerg player here. He's down 20 workers. He's down 20 drones. Now tries to go for another run by. This time the Soul's on hold position. Oh my god. Barely. Barely on hold position. Creator turns back around. And again, Mixu, he defended well against the Adepts this game. It's just the all-in was unfortunately a little bit mishandled. Here comes the second wave. Remember, this time Mixu didn't lose any drones, didn't lose any workers. He only lost a queen. He only lost a queen to the Adepts. And he's trying to rotate, looking for another way in. We're up to, what, 4 Immortals? Oh my god. That's 7. Sorry, 3 Immortals. 3 Immortals and an Archon. Ay, ay, ay. And again, Mixu is on a timer. He's on a timer, Pappy. Now, Last Roach is going to be locked down. There's no way out of this. So many of them to fall. They get force field. Lings, they do flood into the natural, though. They will depower some of the gateways. Black Vest Mixu does hit the third. There's place to defend. There's 2 Archons in position. Lings, they slip it in the main. There's a cannon and a DT to defend. And Creator, he holds. He defends the main, defends the natural, he defends the third base. He does force back the main army. Creator coming out on top on every front. And the soup does lie. Like, the supplies look similar, but really that's more in favor of the Protoss. Heavily in favor of the Protoss, actually, as mixed with supply blocked. But roaches are inflated. Roaches are inflated supply. So, the soup, it lies, Papi. Oh, no. Let's go. I mean, roaches, they can try to collapse on this, though. They take down the DT. The Prism is too far back. Prism is, it doesn't matter. Prism is far back, but GG gets called. The main army just melts, and Creator, he will snowball out of control, taking a 2-0 lead. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Creator does take a lead here. And again, Mixu, he did a great job defending against the Glaive Adepts. He had a much stronger defense this time, which led into the counterattack, or into the all-in from Mixu, as he chose to cut workers at 40 and did not make a single drone for a very long time. The problem, though, that we saw, that, again, I wasn't too fond of, again the execution there, is that because the map is so large, it takes a long time to reinforcements to get across the map. So even though Mixu had a lot of roaches on the way, they were on the way. They weren't at the third base yet in time, so they weren't able to really support. By the time they did, the links had already gone down, and Mixu had lost momentum. He had already lost momentum, so again, just took a little bit too long for that all-in to actually come online, and by that time it did, Creator had held. Creator, he had held, he had gotten the third base up and running, and was able to fortify it with that GG. GG, well played. Creator takes a 2-0 lead, and the question becomes, at this point, do we just Glaive Adept again? Do we? And I'll be honest, like, the Glaive Adepts haven't been doing too well initially. Like, game 1 and in game 2, it isn't the Glaive Adepts that are winning Creator the games, it's been the follow-up typically. Whether it's here, the failed all-in out of Mixu, or in game 1, which was the successful push out of Creator, which caught Mixu droning. Like, in both scenarios, it was the follow-up that really sealed the deal for Creator. So we'll see. We'll see what our players have in store for us here as we load into game number 3. Let's go. Let us go. So getting into our next game, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the blue Zerg player, the blue Zerg from Lena, Finland. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. We'll see if he can make a series out of this. It is Mixu. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the red Protoss player from South Korea, leading the series 2-0, 1 game away from advancing on into the next round. It is a Creator. Mixu was so far ahead, should have taken a fourth. If I didn't make it clear, Mixu had gone for a 2-base all-in. He didn't even have a third saturated. Again, it was, just to reiterate, it was a successful initial defense. It was the decision to go for the 2-base all-in, which did, of course, hurt Mixu in the end. Whether it's a decision or whether it was the execution of the all-in, could definitely argue one or the other. Regardless, now we're loading into a much smaller map. Welcome one and all to Whispers of Gold. The rush distance by ground on this map is very short rush distance. Aggression is favored on Whispers of Gold. We've seen a lot of successful 2 and 3 base all-ins on Whispers of Gold as a result, but this goes both ways, from both Zerg and Protoss players alike. I'll be honest, I do actually favor something like Glaive Adepts a little bit more on Whispers of Gold, but at the same time, I'm not too fond of the idea of doing it. I mean, I wasn't fond of the idea of doing it 2 games in a row, even 3 games in a row as well. Again, like, it isn't the Glaive Adepts that are winning Creator these games, it's what's happening after that. It's the aftermath of that here, typically in Game 1 and Game 2. So, we'll see. We'll see what Creator has in store for us. We're now going for a Gate Expand into Cybercore, Standard Opener out of Creator. Dips in, and we'll keep an eye on Mixu as well. So far, everything looking as it should. And I could definitely feel the sense of frustrations out of Mixu, especially after those 2 games. Like, God. Losing to Glaive Adepts to begin with or losing to that kind of style to begin with can be quite frustrating. But it did feel like Game 2, Mixu was a little more aware of what he was doing, aware of the builds, like a little more decisive, but not as successful, unfortunately. And we'll see. We'll see if we can extend this series. Personally, I'm hoping for a back and forth. Always am. Always am hoping for a Game 4, a Game 5, an ace match. But we'll see. As a Creator, he will soon go for his tech of choice. So what do you have for us this time? As we have a take of choice. Yep, there it is. 3 games in a row, Twilight Council. At this point, it's got to be Glaives again. At this point, I don't know if it's worth speculating like a DT-based opener or anything like that. No. It's got to be the Glaives 3 games in a row. And the question becomes, how will Mixu respond? Now, what I will say, if we have a kind of like another setup here, if we have a replication of game number 2, I do actually favor Mixu. Something that I said before that I need to emphasize is the rush distance by ground being shorter on this map. So if Mixu does have another good defense against the Glaive Adepts, and if he plans on counterattacking as hard as he did and going into an all-in essentially as a response, I do think that it will hit harder on Whispers of Gold if he makes that decision. For now, here's Glaives. So if once again 4-gate Glaives into a 3rd base from Creator, and we'll see what Mixu, how he responds. So far, early Roach Horn. So once again, early Roach Horn out of Mixu. This was thrown down around the 330-ish mark. Around 330. Mixu, this time he did not scout, did not confirm, but is blindly going for the Roaches, which I don't fault him for. Do not fault him. Lings are on patrol, looking for the Prism. Prism is on the way. Mixu once again cutting workers at 41. If you remember, last game he cut workers at 40. He's got 2 gases saturated to be able to support his army. And so far, again, this is the same response that we saw last game, except for, I believe, a 10-second later Roach War. Around 10 seconds. Here comes Creator. He moves out across the map. Roach production has already begun here for Mixu. Has already begun. We have 4 more Adepts on the way. Creator, he's pushing in. Once again, getting a Queen. Not bad. 1 Queen goes down. Good start. Can he get more? As they try to engage. Workers being pulled away. Black-White's Prism into the main, going for another Warp-In. Mining being denied here at the 3rd. Warp-In will complete. Mixu out of position, has to respond. Does pull away. Pulls away in time, trading out more Lings. Force back the Warp Prism. Does force it back. Looks like bleeding out 3 drones so far. Oh, another drone falling. This is slowly adding up. The file save, failure to connect. Creator pulling back. The damage has been done, and Mixu, he is making one drone. He has a lair on the way behind this. Same response that the Creator as last game, Immortal Production and DTs alongside it. And Mixu going for the same response. Again, this is almost just a repeat of the last game on Frostline, except a much smaller map, and this time there's no third. Wait, what? Creator, he never got a third base up and running. Lings are in position to deny. And this time, Creator, he's going to be stuck on 2 bases. You know what? F-Stay shaded. Oh, drones are going down. 5, 6, 7, 8 drones. Oh my god. 9 drones falling, crippling damage. Mixu, he's now completely all in. We see Creator attempting to expand. He shouldn't be able to. This is ideal for Mixu. Trying to lure the army out into the open. Army gets spotted. And the army's out in the open. Mixu pokes in. Dives on the Immortal. Yeah, but as they connect. Ooh, massive egos here. The Immortal does go down. But not enough roaches. Not enough roaches. Aye, aye, aye. The Immortal falls with the Ravagers taking a crumble. GG gets called. Creator, he shuts it down. And Creator, 3 games in a row, will take it. Will advance on to the next round. GG. Whew. Oh my god. GG, well played. That was brutal damage being dealt in the main. Again, Mixu, he got knocked down to 27 drones, 27 workers, and similarly to the last game as well. I mean, actually, I would say something different here. So I was gonna say, similarly to the last game, there was 7 roaches in production, and just like on Frostline, Mixu, he fought the main army before his roach reinforcements arrived. This happened on Frostline. It happened here on Whistles of Gold as well. I will say that I don't think that there was too much urgency for Mixu to do that though, because again, the third base this time was delayed. It was a much later third base for Creator here in game 3. It was very delayed third base, so Mixu could have just backed off. I was gonna say he could have backed off. He could have given himself more time. I stand by that if he hadn't lost that many drones. Like, that's the problem, is that he lost what, 8, 9 workers back at home to the Adepts, which did cripple him, which means that he couldn't really wait any longer because he didn't really have the economy to actually sustain himself either. So it was if only they didn't come back in. Like, that was brutal. That was a brutal moment there. Creator, he crippled the economy. GG, well played. And Creator, he will take the series. Congratulations to Creator, and my condolences to Mixu. Again, I do think that in all 3 games, his initial response was solid. I don't think he initially did fall to or falter to those Adepts, but again, we saw Creator just recover from that moment, even more so here in game 3 with the follow-up Adept aggression. True. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here. Creator does take the win, and now we are halfway through the broadcast. Ooh, as we switch our scenes over and catch up on the group itself here, we had 2 matches wrapping up. We had Fire, of course, taking down Classic 3-2, did bring him down in a massive upset. Here, Creator, he was the favorite player. Shout out to Mixu though, because I don't think Mixu looked too bad at all. I also can relate with some of the frustrations from Mixu. Like, I would imagine coming into this series that he wanted to embrace a longer game. These were short games. These were pretty short games, and it did feel like Mixu's hand was forced multiple times, where he was kind of forced to dance to Creator's music. And in the end, Creator was looking that much more dominant here in the series, and with that, Creator takes the 3-0, and we have 2 matches left. We have 2 best of 5s remaining here. It's going to be a best of 5 between HonMonO and Night Phoenix coming up next in a PvT, and another PvP to end the night between MaNa and Mindo VK. So we have 2 series remaining here. And for now, we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break here so far. We have reached that halfway mark, that halfway point. I'm hoping for some more back and forth matches. Honestly, HonMonO vs Knifeface is going to be a lot of fun. It's always a treat seeing basically HonMonO all in every game, and the Protoss player try to survive HonMonO. That's what I expect out of that series. that's what I expect. But now though, we are going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll have the remainder of the broadcast. See you guys in a couple of minutes. See you soon. See you soon. welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OSC as we have returned. We have returned here with the second half of the broadcast of the OSC Season 12 Championship lower bracket round number 2. We just wrapped up with Classic versus Arcfire and Creative versus Mixu. Now we are here with something a little bit different with a PvT featuring HonMonO and Night Phoenix. Let's go. We have a PvT ahead of us here, and if you're unfamiliar with some of these players, then let me introduce you. Let's go. So jumping into Whispers of Gold, and oh god, I'm ready. No. As spawning in the top left hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Astronaut Esports. It is Night Phoenix. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player living in the land of Japan representing Team Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. We go. And HonMonO, he is the cheesiest and most aggressive Terran player in all of South Korea, more so than anyone else, to a fault, I would say. To a fault. He's an animal. He's an absolute animal. We start things off with a proxy, as we should. Expect to see non-stop 1 base all-ins, 2 base all-ins, pull the boys, pull more boys as well. We expect to see nothing but hyper aggression out of HonMonO in this matchup. HonMonO does macro against Zerg. He macros against Zerg, he macros against other Terran players, but specifically in the TVP matchup, we very rarely see macro. Not impossible, but it is a rare sight to see Hon macro instead of HonMonO. And here we go. Proxy set. This should be Proxy Immortal. We should be seeing a Tech Lab alongside this for... Sorry, I say Immortal. I keep saying that. Proxy Marauder. There should be Marauder production with a Tech Lab alongside us. Marines back at home. From here, we can pull the boys and we can commit into a 1 base all-in. As the probe does arrive here to tase away at that SCV, we'll force it back across the map. The Rax does now complete. And, oh, my apologies. Oh, there we go. Waiting for the Tech Lab. Oh, a little bit misplaced there. Tech Lab is going to be thrown down. Night Phoenix will scout, will check, will confirm no add-on here back at home. So a little bit of a messy execution. As we said at the start, this should be Proxy Marauder. It is. There's Tech Lab on the way for the Marauder production, but a little bit mishandled there from HonMonO. Did force a cancel, did delay. Probe is going to go down. And Night Phoenix back at home going for a standard opener, gate expand into, gate cybercore into expansion. So standard play out of Night Phoenix. He should be aware that something is a little bit amiss, but so far everything looks like an economic build. The probe was killed though, so Night Phoenix is in the dark. He's in the dark. He doesn't know. He doesn't realize that the CC is not being placed. He should have kept the probe alive. If the probe was still alive, he could come in for a rescout, and here we go. The boys are being pulled. Here comes the all-in. Again, we're massing up those Marauders. It's going to be a robo response out of Night Phoenix. He's scouting, he's checking, and he will find this. Yeah, big moment here for Night Phoenix. Does get eyes on the proxy and the Immortal, the Marauder. Does confirm. And we'll see if Night Phoenix can hold. It's going to be a tough hold. So far, shield battery's on the way. Stalker's in position. Shield battery under fire. Backup shield battery on the way. We throw it in the bunker. The first Marauder is going to be going down though. One more shot. One more shot. No, the Marauder survives. One Marauder finally goes down, but for 2 Stalkers, much better trade here for HonMonO. Bunkers on the way. Boys are being pulled, but the damage has been done. The Stalkers did go down, and we'll see if Night Phoenix can actually stop the tide of Terran, because the bunker does almost complete. Again, more boys are here. Shield batteries are done. True. Shield batteries are finished. One of them almost does fall. Stalker has arrived. Behind this, Immortal production should be underway. Not quite though. Yeah, not quite yet. Down to 1 shield battery. Down to 2 Stalkers. Oh, the bunker. It looks like it's going to finish. Yeah, the bunker will complete. And with that, we can just load up the bunker. We can kill the natural base. And Night Phoenix is stuck in his main. He's going to be stuck in his main base. There's no saving the natural. Immortal production has now begun. And back at home, HonMonO is transitioning. Factory's on the way. He's working on that next step. He's content with his damage. He has killed the natural. That's all he wanted. And he got it. Got the natural base. Floating to the high ground to gain vision. Oh. And is within range. Barely within range. Stalker's force back. Bunker gets salvaged. Immortal is revealed. And from here, HonMonO can expand. He can just expand back at home. Or committed to something else. As he's getting a full scout, just making sure there's no other hidden tech. Night Phoenix is supply blocked. And HonMonO does reinforce with extra SCVs. So he's got 3 so far. He's got 3 with the main army. Starport's on the way. HonMonO, he is not expanding. From here and going to Cloak Banshee. Tech Lab is done. What are we going for? A medevac and a tank? Or add-on something to Banshee? What do you have for us? We have the answer, tank. Okay, so it's going to be tank production alongside a medevac as well. HonMonO does pull away, bleeding out 1 SCV. Does pull back. Night Phoenix still in this. Throwing down 2 more gateways, going for his own all-in. Throws down gateways instead of expanding. Night Phoenix moving out. This could still be anyone's game. Night Phoenix making his way into the main. HonMonO trying to set up. Oh. There we go. Does take down the first Sorgo boys being pulled. The tank does go down. That's target firing out of the Immortal, but is it worth it? As Night Phoenix lost a lot in that fight. Down to 2 units. 1 Immortal, 1 Stalker. Barely an army. HonMonO opting to go for a Viking instead of the medevac, just for that anti-air. To have something secure here against the army, against the Prism specifically. Night Phoenix moving in. Viking has arrived. Chasing down the Prism. Prism going for a recall. Will survive. Will save it. But it's forced back home. Scan reveals the expansion. HonMonO, I'm sure, feeling happy about that. Getting his own CC. Raven production behind this. Interesting. Going for the Raven. Going for Interference Matrix. Against a robo-based army. Can do quite well. Hoping to disable the Immortals. And I expect HonMonO to commit to a move out once he has his Ravens. Do expect that. Now getting a second Raven. Second Raven on the way. Night Phoenix going into Dark Templar, which would be a good way to recover here if only they want Ravens already. There is mobile detection. As the first Raven has arrived, second Raven's on the way. He's moving out. Does push through the center. Knifey is going for a counterattack towards the main. The armies do pass by each other in a sense. Scans the naturals, sees this with mortals. No, he needs the disables, and he has them. Force fields could buy some time. But there we go, we get 1. And we throw down the Order's Heart as well. And from here, we just stim in. The third immortal has arrived, though. No other disable. He gets 1. Does he get the other? Yeah, he will. We'll get the other. The tank does go down, though. Knifey's he's holding. He's barely holding on. Again, I'm still a little bit dubious as to the Order Chart being thrown down instead of another disable. Didn't quite land it. And with that, Knifey he holds. And he's getting his natural up and running. Likewise, so is HonMonO. The Ravens are saved. Or are they? Knifey's with intercept. He gets 1. He gets 2. Oh my god, he gets both Ravens. Massive pickoffs. Knifey's popping up. Catching both Ravens. Dark Shrine is revealed. Here comes the counterattack, and back at home, HonMonO, he's exposed. Does have a tank. No bunker. No Ravens either. Which means suddenly Dark Templar, they can do well. Yeah, boys being pulled. To repair, to survive. HonMonO does hold. DT into the main. DT's, oh, sorry, SCV's going down. Getting 5 workers so far. Very nice damage. Dropping back in. Does force field the ramp, actually. Yeah, no more reinforcements. The tank is going to fall. The HonMonO just being caught completely out of position, and Knife Phoenix with the counterattack. He's popping off. The warp in, it looks like it barely will complete in time. Prism goes down. Once again, another force field. Barely out trading his opponents. Has to be covered though. Force field is going to run out. Dark Templar cleaned up. HonMonO trying to punish. He will catch the Immortal. Yeah, just barely. Immortal goes down. Knife Phoenix expanding and building back up. Oh my god. As it cleans up the chasing army. Very scrappy game stage, but again, Knife Phoenix is ahead economically. He's up in probes, he's up in bases. Scan reveals the third, and HonMonO is in trouble. And how do we bounce back? I think we know the answer. Is it to throw down the third CC? No. It's to pull the boys back. We'll see there. For now, he's pinned back at home. I mean, he barely has an army is a problem. He barely has an army. So Knife Phoenix is under no real danger. Knife Phoenix is free to tech. Forge being thrown down for +1. Temple Archives for Archons for Storm. Zul dropping to the main. Prism gets forced back. Or Prism is forced away. One is still building up in 2 bases. We have the Ghost Academy on the way for some Ghost production, which again tells us that HonMonO is not moving out anytime soon. That he's going to be stuck at home for the near future. Ooh. Takes down the Warp Prism. Yeah, the Prism goes down for a second time. Prism goes down. That actually does trigger HonMonO to move out. There's nothing to keep him back. Now, he'll be pushing without Ghosts is the problem. Like, the Ghost Academy is still just now finishing. So it's an earlier push here by HonMonO. But he might catch Knife Phoenix off guard. Back at home, Knife Phoenix is set up here at the third. The natural, he will soon have a Storm. But it's not ready yet. Storm is still on the way. You know, I'll double drop into the main. There's a cannon in position to buy time. Results as well. Doesn't quite make it in. Yeah, and Storm is now complete. And HonMonO cannot fight his head on. Ooh, nice mine shots. Mines a pop off. To pop off. Likewise, HonMonO building up his main army. Ghosts have arrived. Now he has EMPs. And he's boosting in towards the main. There is somewhat of an army in position. Oh, HonMonO gets forced back. Is deflected. As he's rotating. Rotating over, leading the charge with that EMP. Ghost is revealed. Fourth base is going to be denied. West Storm leading the charge. Cells say do get across the map. Oh, going for the feedback. Not quite worth it. A couple of feedbacks for a High Templar. Better trade for HonMonO. Third CC's on the way. HonMonO, he's expanding. Let's go. It's a rare sight to see HonMonO take a third base, but it's happening. He's getting a third. He's slowing down. He wants to be active with this army, but so far hasn't done much. I mean, sure, he denied the fourth. But it's now being rebuilt. Knifey's now being active. He has storms. Does have storms available. Pushing in towards the main. Likewise, main Terran army gets spotted. And Knifey's, does he recall back home? He has to make a choice. So far, he doesn't. Zellsafe busts into the main base, so SCVs are going down. At the same time, HonMonO diving in towards that main base does get the tech. Templar Archives goes down, takes a storm to the face. High Templar falls. Oh, but the main army is getting surrounded. We get some decent EPs, but the storms, they connect. Yeah, the storms, they do pop off. And HonMonO, he plummets in supply. Knifey's, he will defend. He did lose the Templar Archives in a couple of gateways. They should be able to hold. Oh, a bit of a messy fight, though, from Knife Phoenix. There we go. Lands the storms. Oh, my God. Storms, they pop up. They shut down the bio. And at the same time, across the map, everything's on fire. GG gets called, and Knife Phoenix, he will take a lead in the series, taking game number 1. Whew. GG. Oh my God, again, a very intense game. It all began with a proxy Rax, with a proxy Marauder. And again, HonMonO had a very strong start. Remember, he killed the natural. He was able to snipe the Nexus, snipe the natural base. But where things started going south for HonMonO was the follow-up. If you recall, once the game was stabilizing a little bit, once both players were expanding to their natural bases, we saw HonMonO move out with 2 Ravens. He moved out with 2 Ravens. He was unable to trade well enough. He did not break the natural. He killed, was it 2 Immortals? He killed 2 Immortals, but he lost his main army, and as he was retreating, he lost both Ravens. So he kind of lost so much tech there that he invested so hard into. He invested into the tanks, invested into the Ravens. It all did go down the drain, and Knife Phoenix, he brought it back from that moment. So impressive stuff there, impressive catch by Knife Phoenix. If you remember, he intentionally warped in across the map to catch those Ravens. It was crazy. It was a crazy intercept, and in the end, Knife Phoenix does take a lead, and now we're jumping into game number 2. Let's go. Let's see if we can fight back and have a back and forth, or if Knife Phoenix will take a lead in the series, as we're loading into Amygdala. Let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Astronaut Esports. It is Knife Phoenix. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran, down in the series. We'll see him bounce back and make a series out of this, representing Team Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. Here we go. And I'm curious how HonMonO is going to approach some of these larger maps. As I mentioned before, HonMonO, he's an animal. He is the most aggressive, the most cheesy Terran player in all of South Korea. And we saw that come to fruition last game with the proxy, with the initial proxy Marauder. This time there is no proxy, but that doesn't mean we're not going for an all-in. What I will say though is that this map is going to be working against HonMonO. This is one of the larger maps in the map pool. It can be very difficult to pull off all-ins. So that's why I'm curious as to how HonMonO will approach a larger map like this. For now, double gas opener, which means a faster factory, delayed CC out of HonMonO, and we'll keep an eye on his production. We'll see if he goes for extra Raxes. We'll see if he delays the starport, or even goes for just a 1-base setup. Here we go. As the probe is going to be locked into the main, which means Knife Phoenix does confirm the double gas. Will confirm the factory. And back at home, Knife Phoenix will take his natural expansion. And this time, he should be able to hold on to it. This time, he should be able to saturate. So I'm sure Knife Phoenix is feeling comfortable. Very comfortable coming into this. Going for the SCV. Oh my God. Whew. Does not get the SCV, just barely nods. Very close, very clutch. Hi. As the SCV does survive with what, 5 HP. and HonMonO will now expand. It will now expand. A very safe opener here by Night Phoenix. Robo gets thrown down instead of the Twilight Council or the Stargate. Once again, HonMonO does have a reputation. He does have a big reputation just because of how aggressive he is in his play. So I'm all for these safer styles and safer builds. Does make sense against HonMonO. Behind this, HonMonO going Reactor Reaper Hellion. We'll see how hard he commits to this, whether he goes up to only 3 Reapers or up to 5. So we'll see if it makes an extra wave. And the goal of Reaper Hellion is to, of course, break through the initial gateway units and to break into the mineral line. Behind this, going for a 1-1-1. Is getting to a standard setup. And we have the answer. Does not commit into an extra wave. Just 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions. Likewise, getting to his own follow-up 2nd and 3rd racks after the starport. Everything's still looking quite normal from the side of HonMonO. Everything is looking normal so far. We'll push in towards that natural. Rotating over into the main. Oh, nice force field. Alas, the Reaper does actually hop over the force field. A little bit of a fun graphical glitch there. You saw could actually jump a little bit further because of the force field pushing it over. Well, let's go. And with that, HonMonO does pull out. Behind this, going for the add-on swap. Actually, sorry, no add-on swap. Going straight for the Tech Lab, straight for the Banshee production. Hallucination does confirm, and we should be aware of the Banshee play here from HonMonO. Opening up straight Raven is very unorthodox nowadays, very out of meta. But actually, that's not going to be Cloak Banshees, it's just going to be regular Banshees instead. Okay, no Cloak. No Cloak is being researched. This is a quite popular build here amongst the Korean Terran players, referring to Byun, referring to Maru. Reapers, they dive into the main. They get behind the mineral line, going for the probes. They get 1, they get 2. 3 is soon to be 4 probes going down. Army's going to be cleaned up. And Night Phoenix is going into a very heavy charge-based composition with Immortals to support as well. Building up a hefty army. But limited anti-air. And now we're researching Cloak. Very late Cloak out of HonMonO. Interesting. Usually it's either we would already had it finishing up by now or none at all. So curious as to he pulls the voice. I did miss out, my apologies. Shouldn't be a surprise, but HonMonO does pull the boys, going for a 2-base all-in. But again, because the Robo Opener, the Immortal count is already very high. This is why we mentioned earlier that a Robo Opener is typically very safe. Very safe because you have such a high Immortal count early on. Tank shots going up here on the Stalker. Despite the Immortal count, there's no anti-air, there's 1 Stalker. Chips away out to the Banshee. Immortals pushing in, going for the tank. The first tank does go down. And there's 1 tank left, and he wants it, and he gets it as well. Yeah, the tank does fall, Immortal pulls back. Again, the Banshees, they are a bit of a problem here, but charge is now done. And the Marines are being cleaned up. And Night Phoenix just chasing this down, knocks down the tanks, the Banshees. There's 1 Banshee left. Cloak finishing up in 10 seconds. Needs a little bit more time, but despite that, there's all so much here. And remember, lost all those SCVs as well. Barely any mining going on to the natural. Tank fell, and HonMonO, he lost his army. Again, HonMonO, he never scouted, or I should say, actually he did scout the tech earlier. He saw with the Reapers. Despite that, he committed anyway. Bold move, crazy move out of HonMonO. Despite seeing the opener, still did commit. And I mean, we saw what happened. And 1 Banshee goes down. There's 1 Banshee left. The Immortals have to get the hell out of here. Oh, never mind. Never mind. As Night Phoenix does reinforce with more Stalkers. He can maintain the army. Night Phoenix doesn't have enough to break this location, so he has to be careful not to be overzealous, but he's waiting for the War Prism. Yeah, just wait for the War Prism. One wave of Zealot reinforcements is all that Night Phoenix needs, and then he can push in. Speaking of Zealots, here they come. 7 at a time. That's a lot of Zealots. A lot of charge lots. And without a bunker in position, this position is just looking so fragile. And Night Phoenix, he dives in. There's nothing to defend. The tanks, they go down instantly. And again, the all-in of HonMonO did fail. More SCVs falling. Oh my god, the Prism taking a lot of hits. Results are clean up every single SCV. That's 15 SCVs going down. There's a recall back home. Did accidentally recall the Observer as well. I don't think that was quite in... Oh, actually, never mind. Does need it against the Banshees. Does require the Observers. HonMonO does back up. And again, HonMonO, he's down to 26 SCVs. He barely has a standing economy. Doesn't really have much left over. And speaking of not having much left over, it's time for the second all-in. It's time for the second all-in of the game. What happens if you pull the boys and it doesn't work? You just pull them again, Bobby. Pull them again. Let's go. Now, if Night Phoenix is being too greedy, then he can be overwhelmed. My biggest concern... He did not continue Immortal production, so he's down to 2. Down to 2 Immortals. Army gets spotted. Again, that's a lot of Marines. It is a terrifying force. No shield batteries. Uh-oh. But nice force fields. Yeah, nice force fields nonetheless. Zealots, they charge in. They lock down those Marines. Cloak is activated. Targeting down the first Immortal. Going for the Stalkers, actually. And it looks like HonMonO, he will break through the Immortal. Immortal goes down. Night Phoenix is not the best fight for him. Bleeding out too much. And can he actually save the expansion? He's running out of steam, running out of army. Southside dive in once again. One tank is going to go down. Can he get the second tank? Up, can he? It's going to be close. The juggling, the micro. Yeah, good moves here by Night Phoenix. Saves two of the Stalkers. Takes down the tank just barely. But he has to evacuate. He has to evacuate. He has to pull away. Extra reinforcements coming in. Where's the detection? It's arrived. The Observer is here. And Night Phoenix, he will barely hold. He will barely survive. GG gets called. And Night Phoenix, he will take a 2-0 lead in the series. GG. Whew. Oh my god. GG, well played. Again, just to reiterate, HonMonO, if you didn't see him before, if you didn't know him before, now you do. Again, he's the cheesiest Terran in all of South Korea. More so than anyone else. And he stands by it, does stand by it. He's quite successful with it as well. But again, the problem with having this kind of stylistic play is that you have a reputation. You have a reputation. Night Phoenix is aware of that. Again, we saw Night Phoenix go for a very safe build on Amygdala. Likewise, the map was also working against HonMonO as well. When it comes to these all-ins, it takes so much more. It takes so much more time to get across the map. The rush distance by ground is longer on Amygdala, so. Again, it was kind of working against HonMonO as well. We'll see what HonMonO has in store for us, though, on our next game. In our next game, we're going to be getting into Alkyone. Let's go. Sorry, not Alkyone. The other one. Frostline. We're loading into Frostline here as game number 3. Another large map. Another large map. And we'll see what kind of aggression HonMonO is going to go for this time. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the survivor himself. We have the Ukrainian Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Astronaut Esports. He has survived the cheese from HonMonO 2 games in a row. Can he do it again? As he's up 2-0. It is Night Phoenix. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player himself, representing Team Hyper 1, down heavily in this best of 5. He has to start fighting back here and now to force the ace match. It is HonMonO. He needs to start fighting back. And this time, there is no setup for a proxy. So we did see a proxy racks in game 1. Unsuccessful. Here, what do we go for? Now, first things first. On the one hand, yes, the rush distance by ground is long on Frostline. It is one of the larger maps in the map pool. That is true. But at the same time, the bases are very exposed. The third base, the fourth base, the natural, they're very exposed on this map, more so than on others. There's no ramp coming into the natural. Likewise, the entry point is very wide and very large as well. so it can be very difficult to defend. Here on Frostline, you're lacking a lot of the typical natural defensive features at your second base. So we'll see if HonMonO goes for a factory into CC into a delayed starport, which is more of a classical 2-base all-in. We'll see. Double gas opener, so we're going for the factory. Factory's on the way. Delayed command center already, so already like an assertive start here from HonMonO, but still a little bit early to really determine how exactly he's going to approach this. Throws out an earlier depot as well to fully wall off. Getting ready for his eventual expand. So you can see the Marine checking for a proxy. Making sure that Night Phoenix doesn't cheese him out. From the side of Night Phoenix, I would not be opposed to another robot opener. Like, I was really fond of it in the previous game. Wouldn't be opposed to it here. But we'll see. As HonMonO is scouting, one base all in. Oh my god. As HonMonO, he does not expand. He doesn't get a CC. He's going for a 1-1-1 on one base. Crazy aggression out of HonMonO. Now, Night Phoenix is going for the robot opener once again, and in my mind, this makes sense. Against HonMonO, I feel like this is the go-to build to go for a robo, to go for early immortal production, early observers. Adept will shade in, will confirm there is no CC on the low ground, and will he confirm the production on the high ground. He gets eyes on the factory, doesn't see much else. Does not see the starport. He's trying to go for the scouts. Oh, can he get in? He will. Big scout here for Night Phoenix. He sees the starport. He sees the lack of a CC. And now we should know this is a one base all in. One base all in from HonMonO. He has seen enough. Back at it, what do we need? Shield batteries. We need shield batteries. We need a second gateway, a third gateway. Immortal production has begun. That will help. But we need as much as possible to survive, as here comes HonMonO. He might pull the boys with this as well with the tank. He's waiting for the tank. Tank, Liberator, Master Marine, everything just rallying across the map. He has a Cyclone as well. The lack of shield battery is very concerning. It feels like Night Phoenix, he's not fully aware of what's happening. Yeah, he's not fully aware. It's going to be force back. There we go. Now we get the shield battery on the way. But it is going to be delayed. Here come the boys. Couple of boys are pulled to repair. Night Phoenix looking for the army. First Liberator has arrived. And Night Phoenix is getting a second gate. But it's still going to be a tough hold. As HonMonO is completely all in. The Immortals, they're in their main. They're not quite in position though. They're not ready at the natural. Night Phoenix pulling back. Lip has arrived. Tank as well. And it's going to siege. And this, yeah, the shield battery is going to go down. Massive pickup. No shield battery, no support. Immortals go for that. They do focus on the tank. Tank goes down. First shield battery. So good initial start here for Night Phoenix. Sniping that tank was the most important part. Oh. Liberator's the sets. Prism comes in. Oh god, bit of friendly fire. Calm down. Stay calm, Night Phoenix. Stay calm. So a little bit flustered here against HonMonO. We are big on siege. Tank is going to be targeted. Immortal barely gets saved. What about the second Immortal though? Up! Oh my god, barely saved as well. The control from Night Phoenix is crazy. Saves both Immortals, just barely. Hopefully he can save them once again. Tank under fire. And Night Phoenix, he completely shuts it down. GG gets called. Very impressive control towards the end. Night Phoenix not losing a single unit, a single Immortal. Very impressive. GG. Night Phoenix will take the series at 3-0. Whew. GG, well played. Night Phoenix, he will claim the series here again. Very impressive control towards the end, not losing a single immortal with some clutch micro, with some clutch War Prison micro, I should say. And again, Night Phoenix, even though he wasn't fully aware of what was going on, I was concerned with the late shield battery. I was concerned with the immortals being out of position. He did handle himself quite well. We saw him being a little bit flustered towards the end, maybe a little bit nervous, which makes sense, especially against HonMonO, but he was able to keep his cool for the most part, able to shut down the all-ins. In general, we saw a lot of robo-based play, and again, this is, I guess, a PSA if you're out there, if you're a Protoss player. If there's a player on the ladder that is known for being aggressive and cheesing, then just play safe, open robo, get safety immortals going, and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Of course, you need to have the control and the micro to back it up as well, but Night Phoenix playing very well here. And again, that's the downside of being a player like HonMonO, is that your reputation does precede you. And that means it's more difficult to catch a Protoss player being greedy or being standard, which is what HonMonO hopes for. He's hoping for a Twilight Council Blink opener. He's hoping for a Stargate Phoenix opener. He's hoping for something more macro-based, something more mid-game based, that takes a while to really get going to take advantage of that. That's his hope, at least. So with that, GG well played, and Night Phoenix will claim the series, and with that, we now have one final best of 5 remaining. One best of 5 remaining here. It is going to be a PvP between MaNa and MindoVK. Let's go. Shout out to Mindle, by the way, who actually recently last night had a decent performance in the Sparkling Tuna Cup. He was able to bring down Rodzen and have a pretty impressive run in our tournament. I was very impressed, as MindoVK is typically more of a, I mean, nowadays is more of a caster, more of a content creator. He doesn't compete as often as he used to, but every now and then he still does rock up in these tournaments. Again, we saw him last night, and we're seeing him here this morning as well. But we'll see how he compares to MaNa. MaNa, a player who for a while looked like he was about to retire, like last year specifically, like beginning of 2024, end of 2023. MaNa, he was a lot less active. He was taking more of a managerial role in Team Liquid, being a player manager, and you know, setting up the players in WTL and organizing things behind the scenes. He was less active. That all did change at the start of 2024 when Stormgate kind of took off a little bit. MaNa became a big prominent name in that, making videos, streaming as well on his Twitch. And after Stormgate died down, that is when MaNa, he was kind of revitalized. You know, that fighting spirit, that competitive nature was lit once again within him, and MaNa's been looking really good. He's been looking very impressive as of late in the European region. Be getting some very big results, and we'll see if that continues here in the OSC Season 12 Championship as well. Let's go, as we're jumping into game number 1. And as we jump into this, a big shout out to Title Pool in the chat. Title Pool 1985. God, baby God, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the casting. Hope you enjoy the StarCraft. Thank you so much for the support. Of course, you can. Hope you enjoy the emotes. We do give out. We do have emotes in the chat, and likewise, we also give out replay packs. If you want replays of some of the events that we cast, then check out the Discord server, as you will gain access to a specific channel where replays are shared to our subscribers. So you can check us out there if you want those replays. Otherwise, we're jumping into our final best of 5 of the broadcast, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the Polish Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Blue Protoss player representing, used to represent Sidestorm Gaming. Actually, is he still on? Hold on. Hold on. Is he? He is. Okay, so representing Sidestorm Gaming, it is MindoVK. Hold on, I'll fix that up. Out of game. As we're settling into our PvP. Here we go. Now, we've been here before in the previous series between Classic and Arrowfire. We have a 2-gate opener. 2-gate opener out of MindoVK on the high ground. This is very unorthodox on a map like Ultra Love, as MaNa is going for a more economic build instead. Gate into Cybercore into expansion from the side of MaNa. So very economic, very greedy play here, which means that MindoVK has to make a choice. The pressure is on MindoVK. Does he all in? Does he try to punish the greed of MaNa? Does he try to play from behind instead? What's the plan? Does he macro, does he take a natural base, or does he commit into a proxy? For now, I do not see a probe. There's a probe across the map, but there's no probe out to throw down any kind of proxy location, so it looks like MaNa is going for a more standard approach instead. As MaNa does open up Stargate before expanding. So Stargate opener. This means that if MaNa does go for the all-in, then MaNa has access to Void Rays. So Void Rays can be produced if he feels threatened, or if there's no all-in, and if MaNa expands, then MaNa can open Oracle to harass across the map. So MaNa, he has options. He can just go Oracle to harass, he can go Void Ray to defend, and it looks like MaNa is setting up for the expansion. Ooh. Never mind. Never mind, as MaNa, I see a second probe moving out. He moves out with 2 Stalkers. We have 2 more Stalkers on the way. It looks like MaNa is setting up for a proxy. As always, there's no reason for this probe to be here. Show us the pylon. Show us the setup. The probe has arrived. There it is. There's that proxy pylon. MaNa is committing. Meanwhile, MaNa expands. Does expand. We have the shield battery on the way. Is going to be opening up Oracle as he believes he's safe. But the Stalkers have arrived. And can MaNa hold? Denies the shield battery. Shield battery goes down. Has to be rebuilt. Once again is being targeted. Up, up. Ooh, we don't get the cancel. That's a kill. That's a kill, not a cancel on the shield battery. Meanwhile, proxy gateway's on the way. MaNa commits. Nice snipe with the Oracle. He gets 1. He gets 1 Stalker so far. We have more Stalkers on the way. We need that Void Ray production. There it is, Void Rays on the way, but that's Thanatos' pylon. The pylon! The Thanatos' pylon is under fire. Couple more hits and it is going to go down. We need that Void Ray desperately. As it's not going to pop out. 1 more volley. What a boss! Oh my god, depowering everything. Yeah, the pylon, losing the pylon is brutal. Trying to rebuild. Backup pylons on the way. Void Ray does not pop. Again, MaNa thought he was safe. That's why he opened Oracle. He thought he was safe. He wasn't. But he does repower. Shield battery's up. More Stalkers have arrived. Up. Oh my god. Stasis going off. Catching 1 Stalker. And as the Void Ray count gets higher and higher, MaNa is looking more secure. As the Void Ray has arrived. Pulling back. There's a prismatic alignment. Has to be respected. And nice control so far to MaNa, but he's out of energy. He's out of energy on that shield battery. Backup shield batteries on the way. Warp Gate's still not done. And the Void Ray goes down. Massive pickup, and MaNa done it. He breaks through the Stargates. Pushes in. No more reinforcements. No Warp Gate. Stasis goes off. Gets triggered. GG gets called, and MaNa, he fights back. Whew. Oh my god. He does fight back. He does take a lead in the series. GG. GG, well played. Again, a little bit of a misread out of MaNa. Again, MaNa, he thought he was safe. He thought he was secure. He thought we were macroing. That's why he did open Oracle. And we saw that Oracle was a little bit lackluster. We saw some stasis traps being thrown down. And he caught like 1 Stalker at a time. Again, if he was a little bit more aware, if he had recognized what was happening, then again, we didn't need those Void Rays. It was also brutal to lose the first shield battery. Because the first shield battery was killed. Sorry. First shield battery was cancelled, second one was killed. That meant there was no support to help support the Void Ray, to help maintain the position. Everything just went from bad to worse. A very, very intense game. MaNa takes a lead. Oh my god. MaNa does take a lead in the series. And now we're getting into game number 2. Going to be loading into Frostline. Oh boy. Now, as we load into Frostline, this time neither player is going to be tempted to go for a more economic build. There is no ramp coming into the natural, so we should not be seeing a faster expansion. We should be seeing double gate openers. And as spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frostline, we have the red Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Team Liquid down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and make this a series. It is MaNa. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. It is MaNa. Let's go. And again, as we mentioned, this time there is no ramp. There's no ramp coming into the natural, which means 2 gate openers. 2 gate openers all around. Mirrored builds. This time we won't have that kind of dynamic where we have MaNa being more greedy and expanding and being the defender, and his opponent going for the all-in. I mean, we could still see all-in, don't get me wrong, but in general, the opener is much more mirrored here. We're keeping up with each other. Now, MaNa is making a second Gas Geyser earlier on. MaNa's is a little bit later. So there's a slight variation when it comes to their builds. The gateways are finishing up. We should be seeing the Cybercore momentarily. And then we'll see the deviation. It does come down to what units are made first. Do we go double Stalker, Stalker Sentry, double Adept, Sentry into Expand? There's a lot of different combinations. Each one has its own purpose. Each one leads us in a different direction. So we're waiting for that Cybercore to embrace our first two units. Let's go. Do need some time. As both players are scouting with their probes, they scout the pylons. Pylon in the main for MaNa, pylon in the main base for MaNa. Cybercore is done, and what do we have? We have Stalker Sentry out of MaNa. We have a Sentry into Expand out of MaNa. You see the Zealot here. The Zealot is only being made to make it look like he's making units, so he just cancels. So again, it's mainly a fake out here for a faster expansion. So Sentry Expand out of MaNa, very greedy build from our Polish Protoss, and MaNa sees. He saw the timing of the Nexus, and now the pressure is on. We're in a similar position as last game, where MaNa is going to be behind economically. Does he commit into a proxy, and does he go for an all-in? My eyes are on this probe. He has to make the decision here. Does he throw down the pylon? It looks like he might. Does hide the probe. Never mind, he's expanding. Okay, so he goes down to low ground. He will expand. Nexus is on the way. And MaNa will have a nice economic lead. We'll have a lead. As we are going to slow things down. Robo opener as well. MaNa, he plays very safely as well. If Mindle did commit into an all-in, MaNa, he was ready for immortal production, so very safe play out of MaNa after expanding. And this means that MaNa's going to be stuck at home. Basically, what occurs from here is that MaNa can try to harass with a Warp Prism, but outside of that, he's going to have immortal production. He's going to be having a less mobile army. He's going to be stuck at home defending, and it's going to be MaNa with map control with Blink Stalkers. The pressure is going to be on Middle to contain and to get some counter damage done, and to try and take a faster third base. Take a faster third instead to recover that way. At least that's what we expect out of MaNa. We'll see. So he does move out. Does poke out, does force field the ramp, or does force field the natural. Alas, does not quite get the Sentry yet. Sentry taking a lot of hits. A lot of damage. There we go, one Sentry goes down, he gets one. He gets two. Takes down the Stalker. Oh my god, takes down the Stalker as well. And MaNa's in trouble. MaNa, he is in trouble. These are better trades for MaNa. I mean, not losing anything. He takes down two Sentries and a Stalker. And not a single unit has gone down, so very nice control here by Mindle. Behind this, the first Immortal is about to pop. Takes down the Shield Battery. Shield Battery does go down. Pylon as well. Throwing down the Force Field. Boys are being pulled. MaNa is getting desperate. And Mindle doesn't quite shade in. Does shade into the middle line. Probes are going down. Getting 4 probe kills so far. And Mindle, in the aftermath, he's up in workers. He does outtrade his opponent. And he's working towards Blink. Now, what does MaNa have? The Immortals. Remember, that Immortal count, it's slowly building up over time. It's building up a higher Immortal count and a +1. He has the better upgrades. +1 is on the way. This Warp Prism tells us that he intends to break out. He intends to push. Knocks out the Pylon. Mindle takes the third base. MaNa throws down the Twilight Council. Now, MaNa, he plays very safely as well. If Mindle did commit into an all-in, MaNa, he was ready for immortal production. He was going to be having a less mobile army. He's going to be having a less mobile army defending, and it's going to be MaNa with map control with Blink Stalkers. So very nice control here by Mindle. Now, this tech structure tells me that MaNa most likely isn't going for an all-in. He had the option to throw down like 2 or 3 more gateways and just commit. He is pushing, he is moving out, that is true, but I believe MaNa intends to expand. And there he is, he's set up for the Nexus. Expansion is going to be on the way. MaNa moving out. Hallucination will scout the setup. Ooh, MaNa, he is not expanding. He might still throw down the Nexus, but that is going to be Glaives, not Blink. This is the beginning of an all-in. Glaives do not scale well into a longer game, but they're ideal when it comes to soaking damage and protecting Immortals and committing into all-ins. Meanwhile, we have the dive. Bold move here out of MaNa, bleeding out a lot of Stalkers, does not get the Immortals. Much better trade for MaNa. Much better. And here come the reinforcements. And again, MaNa, he never did expand. The probe was scattered earlier by the hallucination, but it was a fake out. He's here to make it look like he wants to take a base, and he isn't. He's pushing. Pushing out instead. Prism survives once again. Trading well. Here comes the main army. MaNa is distracted. Doesn't get eyes on this. Here we go. Here come the warp-ins. MaNa, he has double the army supply. He has an insane army here. And Mindle, I don't think he can fight this head on. The force fields do help, though. Force fields help. But Last is being forced further back. And MaNa, he might just snowball out of control. Is pushing in. Again, he has 3 Immortals behind this as well. Goes for a dive, takes out the Prism. Prism goes down. He gets 1 Immortal. Can he get 2? He's bleeding out too much. The boys are being pulled. Desperation move here out of Mindle VK. Down to 4 Stalkers. It's not enough. Mindle's being broken. And MaNa, he's popping up with the 2-base all-in. Or is he? Up. Here comes extra warp in. Extra warp in does complete. A 3rd Immortal has arrived. There is no War Prism. There are no reinforcements. Despite that, MaNa VK is struggling. Again, he invests into a 3rd base. He lost 11 probes, and MaNa VK is still equivalent here in the worker count. MaNa, he rotates. He rotates over towards the 3rd base. Boys are being pulled. He wants one of the Immortals. Oh god, he barely will get 1, but GG gets called. MaNa, he overwhelms, and we tie up the series 1-1. Whew, let's go. GG, well played. MaNa does tie things up. Again, MaNa faking a 3rd base, and MaNa VK took the bait. He took the bait. He was probing up very hard, saturating his 3rd base, skipping warp-ins, being on a lower gateway count, and MaNa VK was overwhelmed as he was getting ready for a longer game state, and MaNa was not. GG. GG, well played. Whew, that leads us into game number 3. And who will take a lead? Who will take a lead in the series? Who will advance on into that next round? As a reminder, though, this is the best of 5, so we have plenty of games ahead of us. Plenty more games to come. We are jumping into ley lines. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming, being forced into a tied series. It is Mindle VK. Let's go. As once again, we do have our 2 gate openers all around. Once again, there's no ramp coming into the natural on ley lines, so there's no setup for a more greedy build. Instead, 2 gate opener versus 2 gate opener. But our probes are on a mission though. Hello. As MaNa, he moves out his probe towards the top left. This looks like a position for a fake proxy pylon. Meanwhile, MaNa moving out for a scout. Not hiding his pylon. Okay. Or is he? Yeah, just scouting. Just gonna be scouting. There we go, as he does make his way towards the natural. And we can see that MaNa, he actually sticks around. He throws down the pylon, he's coming back. This wouldn't be a bad location for a proxy Stargate. This should not be a proxy robo. This is just way too far away for a robo. Cybercore is about to finish. Show us a Stargate or a Twilight Council. Oh my, he is going for the robo. Huh. Okay. You have my attention. It's the MaNa. So the reason why I did not suspect this to be a robo is because this is very far away ground wise to go for immortal production. Very far away. So proxy immortal is not going to be an option, I don't think. He can go for a war prism. He can go proxy war prism to harass into the main. That is an option here for MaNa, but he's quite limited in what he can do. Is going to be quite limited, but we'll see. As MaNa is being active with his second probe. Ooh, MaNa is scouting, checking the left hand side. He will check the close by locations, but he won't keep going as he knows the pylon is missing. He's looking. Double hallucination scouts, checking all the standard locations. Is going immortal. Okay. But is he going all in? I mean, he's making it look like he wants to expand. But I would imagine this is going to be a fake out. Mate, the twist, the turns. Show us how to PvP, MaNa. Double it into the main. Gets surrounded. Getting 1, getting 2, getting 3 probes. Robo open out of MaNa, playing it very safe. MaNa does not expand. And he's making a second immortal. And this is such an awkward, like, all-in here by MaNa. But it is an all-in. It is a one-base all-in. He is not expanding. And I believe MaNa will. Oh, no. Another gateway. Good read so far. He found it. He found it. He does find the proxy. He does find the robo. He's aware of the all-in. He's aware of the all-in. It's a bit of a more awkward setup here. And it took a lot longer to scout. I'm not entirely convinced here by MaNa's build, but we'll see. Let him cook. Let him cook. That's what I say. MaNa goes for the shade. Does get into the main base. He can one-shot probes. Uh-oh, there's nothing at him to defend. Probes are going down, forcing a recall. They'd have to recall back. This will delay the push. MaNa, can he pull this off? Making his way towards the natural. 8 probes going down. That's insane damage. Let him say threaten another shade. They break in. Oh no. And MaNa's being pulled apart. I mean, he was already all in, but now he can barely sustain himself. And all MaNa has to do is survive. Just defend. Nice force field. Locks down the army. Good juggling on the MaNa, does save the Immortals. Pushing up the ramp, going for a massive warp in. It's a bold move. The Prism is going to be targeted down. The boys are being pulled. Prism will fall. No more reinforcements, but the warp in does complete. A lot of probes are going to be falling. The Immortal cannot engage. And MaNa, has he done it? Has he pulled this off? Nah, not quite. Yeah, with the 2 Immortals here, MaNa, he should clean this up. He should survive. Yeah, the shield battery's within range. And this was a crazy build out of MaNa, a crazy proxy location. He gets completely shut down, and MaNa holds. He's up in probes. It was a much more messier defense because of those force fields. I mean, the impeccable force fields out of MaNa, but MaNa, he should have this. Again, I feel like this build from MaNa really had to have like the surprise factor come into play more than anything, because it's just such a weird location, but it's also working against MaNa as well. As he's being chased down. Does have force fields though. Up! Catching out 2 Stalkers. Very nicely done. As the mid of VK does overextend. And he should back off. He should just back off from here. Pulls away. Does pull away. Still very tense. Mindle is still ahead. But despite being ahead, I mean, there's still opportunities here for MaNa. As Mindle, he's going for the proxy. He's going to depower it. Yeah, MaNa out of position. There's no saving this Robo. Robo gets depowered. MaNa going to be forced to engage. And Mindle, does he stand and fight? Yeah, he has to. Going to be locked down. One Immortal does fall. Nice pickoff. Trading 1 for 1. 1 for 2. There we go. As everyone's going to lose their Immortals. Immortal counter resets. The Prism does arrive. Mindle, he can juggle back. Can juggle back here. Can reinforce as well. And again, Mindle should shut this down completely. Catching the sentries. Mindle VK has the Immortal lead over his opponent. And MaNa going for a desperation counterattack with these adepts. Alas, the pylon is in position. Mindle, he's ready. He's ready back at home. He will defend. Takes down 1 adept. Going for the other. Mindle pushing his way up the ramp. Catch another adept. Trying to force his way in. Last MaNa will break out. Does break out, is sustaining himself. Oh, trying to catch a Stalker. Alas, he shouldn't be able to. Oh no! One of the Stalkers getting very low, but is saved. And here comes the Immortal. Here come 2 Immortals even. And there's no way that Mindle loses this fight. This time there's no force fields. There's no sentries. Oh. Nice volleys here on the War Prism. Prism taking a lot of damage. This time Mindle a little more attentive though. Expanding behind this, getting a natural. Chasing this down, containing MaNa onto 1 base. And Mindle doesn't have to push up this ramp. He can try to focus on the gateway, sure. But does not have to push in. He's just going for the gateway. That's all he needs. Trading with the army. Gateway is going to get picked up. The Prism taking a lot of damage as well. Has to be careful. As MaNa has rebuilt the Robo, Adepts say shade into lane, they force a recall. And again, Mindle didn't have to commit. He has the expansion, he has the natural. Has the natural base. MaNa going for his own counter all in, he has to at this point. It's all or nothing. Mindle is lacking shield batteries. Despite the base finishing up, the shield batteries are going to be delayed. We do need them. So far, just going for extra warpins. Sanji's going to be reinforcing. On ahead towards the main. Recall is on cooldown. No shot. Recall's on cooldown. I mean, does have the Prism, thankfully, can juggle over the ramp. Yeah, boys are being pulled. A lot of probes are going to be falling. So much of the army is actually not coming into play. It's going to be 6 probe kills. 1 Immortal goes down. MaNa making the best out of this situation here. Trading as best he can. Catching up the probe counts. Army's going to get cleaned up though. And GG gets called. Yeah, there's nothing else left here. MaNa takes a lead in the series 2-1 and is 1 game away from advancing on to the next round. GG. Whew, oh my god. And again, it was a crazy build out of MaNa. Winding it back, if you remember, I was shocked when we saw the pylon location. I was like, oh yeah, it should just be like a Stargate or maybe a Twilight Council. He still went proxy robo. It was a crazy move out of MaNa, again designed to catch his opponent off guard, as we saw MaNa playing very safe, and he scouted the robo as well, and that just made the all-in even weaker. Again, typically the reason why we expected that to be a Stargate location is because it's so far away. It's so far away, it didn't make much sense for it to be proxy robo, but again, like the idea there is most likely for it to just be a bit of a mind game and to catch his opponent off guard to make it look like it isn't going to be proxy robo when it is. The problem though is that it's also inefficient, right? Like so there was a lot coming into play there when it came to the decision of MaNa's build. Alas, didn't quite come to fruition, was completely shut down, and with that, GG, well played. MaNa is now 1 game away from knocking MaNa out of the tournament. Let's go. Meanwhile, we're catching up with the chat. Thank you so much to Ariel Mortis for subscribing for 2 months. Thank you so much for the subscription. Thank you so much. I do appreciate the support. I don't want to watch any more StarCraft as long as it's PvP. Are we allowed to balance wine yet? No. If you're gonna cry somewhere else. We're here for the PvPs. We're ready for it. Let's go. Let's go. If you don't want to watch PvP, then you don't want to watch StarCraft. That's what we're in. that's where we are right now. Oh no. Welcome to OSC PvP edition. Let's go. As we're jumping into our next game. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the Polish Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Team Liquid. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is MaNa. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Blue Protoss player, representing Storm Gaming, 1 game away from advancing on to the next round. It is MaNa. We go. Whew. Oh my god. Once again, Mindle, he is so close to claiming the win here. And now we can settle into Whispers of Gold. Once again, 2 gate openers should be abound for both players. Mindle does have a little bit of breathing room, so we could see Mindle go for an all-in himself, as he does have a 2-1 advantage. So he could take a risk. We'll see who is the first to deviate here, if at all. We could see a standard game. Despite the fact that we're in game 4, so far we've had a lot of aggression in this series. We have yet to really embrace a proper 3-base saturated play. Like we have not gotten into the mid game yet. It's been all about the aggression, the proxies, the cheese, the 1-base all-ins, the 2-base all-ins. That's all we've seen so far, which I'm all for. That's the best part of PvP. I see Mindle playing. Yeah, for sure. As we mentioned, MaNa, lately he's been focusing a lot more on casting, on organizing tournaments. He hasn't been focusing as much on competing. Despite that, has actually played in some tournaments recently and is doing well for himself. He's doing very well. I do still favor MaNa, 100%. I do still favor MaNa overall in a more macro game, in a more macro setting, but that's not what we're getting. We're not macroing. Hello, MaNa. As probes are being sent out, Mindle is looking for the pylon. He does find the second pylon. No proxy. No proxy, not this time. As MaNa, he's going to be delaying his probe scout. I believe MaNa did not go in. Yeah, he did not go into the main.
Your probes are under attack.
MaNa, he reveals his third pylon. So far, everything looking normal, everything looking standard. Mindle going for the pylon block, as it was a Stalker Sentry opener. Ooh, MaNa going for the Robo before expansion. And Mindle going to be opening up Twilight Council. So, Mindle has a more macro setup. Mindle should be expanding. Should be taking a natural base. Meanwhile, from the side of MaNa, I'm curious if he will. He's building... Okay, he's banking up minerals. He should be expanding as well. So, both players are expanding, but very different tech choices. Now, with the Robo, I would say that MaNa's going to be more defensive here. In saying that, if you recall earlier in this series, MaNa also went for a Robo Opener into early Immortal production, and he turned this into a 2-base all-in. If you remember, that was on Frostline. On Frostline, MaNa, he chose to fake a third, he went into Glaives, and he went for an Immortal Glaive all-in instead. So that is still going to be an option here for MaNa. So this could still be aggression. Just hitting a little bit later. New uplink is on the way. Mindle poking in. Let's poke in. Oh, that's going to be a kill on the shield battery. Very nice pickup. Shield battery goes Mindle. Hello? Wait, what? As Mindle, he does go for the natural, going for the third base instead. Very unorthodox play here out of Mindle VK. As a result, MaNa, he believes it's an all-in. Ooh. So MaNa is throwing down hallucinated stalkers, building up more immortals. Now, on the one hand, yes, he's forcing this reaction, this response out of MaNa as MaNa's preparing for an all-in. But this defense can very quickly turn into an offense. The Prism has arrived, and soon MaNa can move out. And we'll see if Mindle VK can deal with that situation here. Back at home, going for his own Robo. Blink is almost done. Sets up a pylon to reinforce across the map. And right now, Mindle VK is only containing. He's going to contain his opponent. Setting up a later expansion. And we're waiting for MaNa to break out. He's up to 2 immortals. Again, MaNa, he goes for 2 more hallucinated stalkers. Got to move out to scout. Blink is revealed. That should be a tell. Yeah, and he moves out. Does move out across the map. He knows that he is safe to do so. Stalkers do reinforce. Going for the sentry. Gets one. One sentry goes down. MaNa, he commits. Another sentry almost falls. Almost. And MaNa, he will miss the third. He checks the natural, confirm it's not there. And he's like, wait, what? There we go, there we go. He does rotate over. The third base is very exposed to Mindle VK, and the probes are going down. At the same time, Mindle commits. He tries to. Yeah, boys being pulled away. Mindle caught completely out of position. Pylon goes down. And Mindle, he's racing back home. Yeah, Mindle in a rough position here. Again, he was hoping to try to scare MaNa into staying at home. And he is just not ready at home to defend at all. There's the recall. Late recall as well. And Mindle VK is behind. He's down in probes, down in economy. Now, if he can catch this War Prism, true. If he can catch the Prism, then he could just end the game. As this is a very valuable War Prism. MaNa looking for the pylon. We'll find it. Pylon is going to go down. Prism escapes. The Observer will find it. Prism gets found. And we have more gates on the way. Now, coming into this game state, I do favor MaNa. I do favor MaNa's position. He has the better economy. He's building up more immortals. But Mindle VK, instead of expanding, what do we see? A massive gateway explosion. 5 gates all the way. That's going to be a 7-gate setup. And no gases at the natural. What does this mean? The prism went down. The prism went down! Oh no! Oh, I apologize for missing it here, but the War Prism, it did go down. That was 2 immortals falling. And MaNa expands. Okay, so what's happening right now? So MaNa, he just lost the War Prism and he just lost 2 immortals. He lost his advantage. Likewise, MaNa is taking a base. Meanwhile, Mindle VK is going for an all-in. So everything is looking better for Mindle VK. Worse in a longer macro game, but remember, Mindle, he's not taking gases. He's not making probes, not making a third. It's all or nothing for Mindle with this all-in. MaNa checking his vision. He doesn't really see much. He has 2 observers here at the main attack pods. He's saturating his third. Getting to his own gateways, his own charge. But MaNa's in a rough place. Again, if the game can go on a little bit longer, then MaNa can reap the rewards of the expansion. But MaNa needs more time. And MinoVK should not give him that time. Here we go. Here comes the all-in. Here comes the push. MinoVK is up 20 army supply. He's up 20 army supply. Is moving out. Hallucination will miss the main army. He will scout all the gateways, and he should scout the lack of expansion. There we go. The army gets spotted. Now he knows. Here comes the warp in. And MaNa, can he survive? So far, so good. Nice force fields. Buying time. Buying as much time as possible. Rocks get knocked down. MinoVK is moving in. And there's no more force fields, no more sentries from MaNa. MinoVK dives in. The Immortals are not really doing much in the back line. Yeah, they have to be brought forward. So wasted DPS by MinoVK. Better fight for MaNa initially. Yeah, so again, miscontrol from Mindle. Once again, the Immortals, they attack the building, they attack the Nexus. More cells warping in. Boys are being pulled. Yeah, boys are being pulled. Prism is gonna survive. And MaNa, he's shutting this down. Yeah, again, just a blundered attack from MinoVK. Just wasting so much DPS. GG gets called, and MaNa, he will survive. He will fight back, and we're going to the ace match. Whew. GG. GG, well played. We're going all the way to game 5. Again, MinoVK, even though he had a massive army, he kind of did blunder that attack. When he dove on the army, we saw the Zealots and Stalkers move in and fight head-on. The Sentries and Immortals were doing nothing. The Sentries and Immortals, they were wasting DPS on the Nexus the entire time. They were not actually adding or contributing to the main fight. And with that, MaNa, despite being down in supply, was able to take a better trade overall, was able to fight back, able to survive. And now we're going all the way to the ace match. Whew, let's go. We're going all the way to game 5. It all ends here on Amygdala. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the Polish Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player representing Sidestorm Gaming. Yeah, I mean, he was so close. He was one game away for so long. Still one game away. Can he bring it back? It is MinoVK. As we load into one of the larger maps of the map pool. And do we finally get some macro? Do we finally get some 3-base versus 3-base? That has not happened at all this series. We have not seen a mid-game back and forth. That has not happened yet. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on the two. Does anyone have... is anyone brazen enough, I should say, to proxy, to cheese, to be all in? Oh boy. The probe does move out. Work as they move out across the map. And we'll see if anyone commits into any shenanigans early on. So far, 2 gate openers waiting for the Cybercore. Which units do we begin with? I predict Stalker Sentry from both players. Maybe Sentry into Nexus. Speaking of, yep, there it is. Sentry into Nexus from MaNa. It is a fake second unit. This Zealot should be cancelled. Meanwhile, MinoVK going for a standard Stalker Sentry opener. So MaNa is being greedier, and MaNa will get a faster Nexus. There's a cancel. There's a Nexus. So greedier builds here by MaNa. Mindle does confirm. He is aware. And we'll see how Mindle does respond. As the pressure is now immediately on MinoVK to get some damage done. And there we go. For now, later expansion, later Nexus. Did actually cancel his Stalker to pull that off. So cancel Stalker into a slightly faster Nexus. I mean, than normal. Still slower than MaNa's. MaNa once again opening up Robo. We've seen a lot of Robo play out of MaNa. It is a very safe way to play. Can turn into aggression, as we saw in Frostline. But can also be very successful defensively, like we saw previously on Whispers of Gold. Yeah, Forge as well. This tells us a later game. This tells us we're setting up for a later game state, going for a +1 timing at least. Hallucination dives in, gets eyes on the Twilight Council. So MaNa going to be building up a heavy Immortal army. Meanwhile, MaNaVK will have a larger Stalker army instead. This Blink is on the way. Blink is on the way. We have the follow-up Forge from MaNaVK as well. MaNa setting up for a third, and he will soon have the money for it. There it is. Insanely fast third base. So fast natural into a fast third. Very greedy play here out of MaNa. He's going for a third off of 2 gateways, and the hallucination does confirm. And once again, MaNaVK is being forced into an awkward position to respond to this, and it looks like he's trying to keep up and will also expand. But again, later natural, later third base, MaNaVK is 1 step behind. As he throws down 2 more gateways. Oh, okay. So Mindle, he makes a decision. He was setting up for an expansion, but it looks like he will go for faster gateways instead, getting into a 5-gate setup here in the main, which means we might see a 6th gateway. And if we see a 6th gateway, we're going to be going for the all-in. Observer scouts. Observer sees the attempted expansion. You can see MaNaVK is making it look. He's trying to make it look real, but it isn't. It is not. Hallucinations, they confirm the production. They confirm the mass amount of gateways on the way. There it is. Proxy 6th gateway. So it's going to be a 2-base 6-gate blink all-in out of MaNaVK. Can he break MaNa? It's all or not. Oh, MaNa, he checks. Yeah, he smelled. He smelled that something was wrong. Something was amiss. Something was just not right. Takes down the pylon. MaNaVK tries to respond, but he is being delayed quite heavily here. Nice force fields. Locks down the army. Ooh, 2 Stalkers going down. Yeah, brutal pickoffs. Again, that should not have happened. It's a rough start here for MaNaVK. He's been delayed, has been slowed down. Here comes a massive wave of reinforcements, and MaNaVK, he has to end the game here and now. It's all or nothing. Forces get thrown in. He does catch 3 sentries. Not bad. Does catch 3 sentries, but that's still 3 more immortals behind this. Yeah, still 3 more immortals. Does take down some of the shield batteries. Shield batteries are denied. But the immortal count is getting out of hand. He needs to do something about this. Does dive in. Doesn't get the immortals though. Yeah, hot pick up here out of MaNa. He's gonna hold. He's gonna survive. He will punish. As he's soon going to have a 4th immortal as well. And Middle, he was 1 shot away from one-shotting that immortal as well. He was so close. He was so close. 1 shot away. Once again, nice force field, creating a choke point. The immortals, they break through. MaNaVK once again going for the dive. Last, the control is too good though. MaNa, he avoids the shots. He's holding and he's getting further ahead. And Mindle, now he expands. It's a late expansion. Yeah, late third base out of MaNaVK. The longer this goes on, the worse it is for the blue Protoss. Trying to commit. Once again, trying to focus on those immortals. He will not get them. As now MaNa has 4 immortals. Soon to be 5. Middle, he rotates. MaNa, he spots a rotation with the Observer. He's keeping up. Keeping up with the rotations. Ooh. Catching out the Stalkers. Yeah, brutal trades. One immortal finally goes down. He gets one. He gets two. Still a rough trade there for Mindle. Still falling further behind. The Epsay shade in. The shield batteries in position. The probes, they survive. Yeah, the 2 probes going down. Again, things are looking bleak here from Mindle. He's doing whatever he can here to try to bounce back in this game. Trying to pull his opponent apart, but it's not working. GG gets called. He runs out of steam, and MaNa with the comeback. He recovers in the series. It was down 2-1, but he brought it back. And MaNa, he will take the series at 3-2. GG. Whew, GG, well played. I'm always one for an underdog story, and MinoVK was the underdog coming into this series. I would have expected a 3-0. I'm not gonna lie, I would have expected a 3-0 in favor of MaNa. He was the heavy favorite coming into this. Despite that, though, a very intense series, very intense, very back and forth. MinoVK fought back very hard, and he almost won this series as well. He almost took it. I'll be honest, I'm still thinking about Whispers of Gold. I'm still thinking about Whispers. I'm still thinking about the all-in. Still thinking about the wasted DPS on that Nexus. Like we saw for almost the entire fight, the Immortals were just not coming into play for MinoVK. If he had some better army movement, some better army positioning, and better army control, then maybe he could have broken through then and there and maybe won the series. But outside of that, of course, MaNa did play very well here to recover, to bounce back, never gave up. GG. GG, well played. MaNa does take it in the end, and with that, we have our matches wrapping up. We have our matches wrapping up for the day. Un momento. Just updating the brackets as we switch our scenes over and catch up. And there we have it here. We had 4 best of 5s today. We had 4 best of 5s. We had a Classic versus Arcfire. We had a crazy upset to start the night with Arcfire taking down Classic 3-2. Very impressive win there from Arcfire. That should not have happened. So a big upset, a big win for Arcfire. Scrolling down, Creator took down Mixu 3-0. A lot of Glavid Eps. A lot of Glavid Eps. And again, Mixu did not play badly. He did not play badly at all. He had some great defense against the Glavid Eps. It was the aftermath. It was the follow-up, which is where Mixu was struggling the most, which is where Mixu did falter, did fall. So in the end, Creator did take the series. He was favored. Scrolling down, HonMonO versus Night Phoenix. That was a banger of a series as well. Was very intense, very chaotic. HonMonO, he's a very cheesy player, and he tried to all-in the hell out of Night Phoenix. Night Phoenix, he weathered the storm. Did it very well performing against HonMonO, as Night Phoenix is very familiar with him as a player. So very nicely done. And that led us into the final best of 5, also into the ace match. Something about these PvPs, non-stop ace matches here tonight, which again almost went the way of MinoVK, was so close, but alas, MaNa did bring it back, did survive with some stronger defensive play, both on Whispers of Gold and even here on the Amygdala as well, as MaNa was dictating the pace, was being greedier, did force responses out of Mindle, and did win it in the end. Did take it in the end. GG, well played. Congratulations to MaNa, Night Phoenix, Creator, and Arcfire for advancing on. And that will conclude our current broadcast for the morning. Here. Tomorrow we're going to be back with part 2 of the lower bracket, round 2 of the OSC Season 12 Championship. Tomorrow's matches you can actually see before you. Bam. Here and now. You can see tomorrow a lot more Zerg. Tomorrow we're going to be casting Nickrack versus Wayne in a TVZ, Nightmare versus Shameless in a PvP, Rebellion versus Solar, and Young Yakov versus Spirit. These are tomorrow's matches, as again our schedule is very busy today. We cannot cover everything in one broadcast. Why is that exactly? Why cannot we cover everything here and now? Well, as we head on over to our weekly schedule, you can see here before you, we have a very busy Monday. Today is Monday, of course. We just wrapped up with our first broadcast in the morning at 9 a.m. KST. Up in how many hours? In 6 hours. In 6 hours time, we're going to be live with the Fairy Cup. That's going to be at 6 p.m. KST or 8 p.m. AEST. We're going to be live with the Fairy Cup. That is going to be a show match here. We have a show match, a best of 7 between Byun and Zaun. Look forward to it. Look forward to it. It's going to be a banger of a best of 7. Shout out to the people behind the Fairy Cup. For those that are curious, that is Little Fairy. The people that do work on Little Fairy. They are organizing some show matches, and they actually reached out. They reached out to us if we wanted to bring some English coverage to their events. We agreed, and that is going to be later on tonight, just before the Wardy TV Monday. So 3 casts. We have 3 casts tonight. It's going to be very intense, very busy. OSC Season 12 Championship, into the Fairy Cup, into the Wardy TV Monday. So because we have so much going on today, that is why we are going to be splitting the OSC broadcast in half. So half today and half tomorrow. As you can see, tomorrow is going to be the Piggy Store Monday and part 2 of the lower brackets round 2 OSC Season 12 Championship. Likewise, on Wednesday we have Code for Giants Cup. On Thursday we have the International Tussle. We have the Podcast. We have Alima League, a 2-parter of Alima League, as Alima League is a 2-day event, as this is the winter finals of Alima League. So Friday and Saturday, double day of Alima League. We have the Warcraft 3 Evolution Kung Fu Cup, we have MSO, and we have Sparkling Tuna Cup as well. So we have plenty of coverage, plenty of content here throughout the week. I'm very tempted to actually have another broadcast actually, but for those that are curious, the reason why there is no broadcast on the morning of Sunday is because we're actually going to be busy adminning. We won't be casting. We're going to be adminning the Euthermal 2v2 Cup. There's the Euthermal 2v2 tournament for the month of February. That is going to be on Sunday, and I guess Saturday evening, Sunday morning, and we're going to be busy adminning that event, which means we won't be able to cast. No casting there in the morning, adminning instead. Still work for the CranKy Ducklings, but a different kind of work instead. So yeah, we're going to be working behind the scenes on the Euthermal's 2v2 tournament. Otherwise, we're wrapping up for the day. We're wrapping up for the day. Again, plenty of content on the channel. If you missed something, or if you see something that you want to watch and you can't watch it live, then check us out on YouTube. !socials in the chat, and you will get the link to our YouTube channel, to our Patreon, to our Discord, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all things CranKy Ducklings, TikTok as well. We're all over the place, so you can check us out there if you wish. Otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. If you want to support us monetarily, if you want to support our tournaments, you can do so via Patreon. I actually didn't get to shout out Patreon yesterday. I should have, but our Patreon does fund Sparkling Tuna Cup and Master Sworn Open. The tournaments that we run here on a regular basis are funded via Patreon. So if you want to support us, that is the place to do it. Otherwise, you can also support us via subscribing as well. With that, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you had a great time, and we will see you later on tonight in 6 hours time with Byun versus Zaun in a best of 7, and with the Wardy TV Monday. A lot of content, a lot of casting, a lot of StarCraft. We'll see you then. Oh god, I'm dying. We'll see you then. We'll see you later tonight. I'm gonna go get some rest. I'm gonna go edit some VODs and try to get some sleep before the cast. We'll see you next time. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.